Hello and welcome to another episode of Straight Outta Stanton. Been a while, man.
Has been a while. Yep.
But a lot of things have been happening around our citizen community and development. We had a big week behind us with Citizencon. Um, and yeah, following what we said before, like of course this first episode is a little bit like random date and everything, but it kind of feels like it's according to our plan from like
Well,
the
we
last
did.
time we were here.
Yeah, we did say that, we might do it at the beginning of October, or we might wait till after Citizencon.
Mm.
And when October rolled around, I don't know, it's just like pretty clear that you know we should wait till after Citizencon because there wasn't really much happening
That's true, and
at that point.
plus we were guesting on which we mentioned before, but like we were guests on Astropub
Yeah,
24-hour stream with charity for Doctors Without Borders, um, which was it was it was a tricky thing, man. Because this happened. That if you guys did not watch it, I'm gonna link uh or you
yeah,
can
they're all up and
check the links
yeah,
under the screen to both episodes, because Paul always splits this to like the actual show and
discussion and the Q&A. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And so this happened the day after CitizenCon, which we're going to talk about CitizenCon in our news section, but um it happened the day after, and I did not enjoy CitizenCon much. It was not a good time for me. Um, and I was kind of scared of waking up tomorrow and like seeing that now I have to sit there and talk to other people about Star Citizen after a really demoralizing day. Uh, I actually approached you before and I was like, dude, I don't know how this is going to be rough.
well, I that's the thing, right? I think we were both. In fact, actually, I think a lot of people were feeling that after CitizenCon. I mean, a
Mm,
lot of people really enjoyed it, and a lot of people really thought, you know, like that there was a ton of stuff to be excited about. But yeah, this CitizenCon was pretty unique for me too, in that I didn't really leave feeling like I learned much, and I didn't really leave feeling any sort of hype. So yeah, yeah, no,
yeah.
this was kind of a rough CitizenCon this year, I think.
Yeah, and
And
and then yeah, being a guest in a podcast with that whole
yeah,
idea was. However, I'm
it
gonna
did
be
end
honest and say, yeah, it was
yeah,
actually
it was fun.
surprisingly fun.
Yeah.
And obviously
That's
kudos
what
to
I find with
Paul
Captain's. Oh,
for
sorry.
for pushing through 24 hours. That's just
Yeah. 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 No, thank you.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know. It's kind of how I feel in a lot of situations with Captain's Table. It's just like even if I'm kind of like hesitant because I'm not super stoked on Star Citizen at the moment, I usually go and I have a good time. Just because
It was. So
it's fun to have that kind of like
the third
uh
guest was Diablos.
Diablos. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you guys don't know who that is, I mean, you should obviously watch the episodes, but he's the guy who actually won second prize for um name. Oh my
The
god, my
the
brain.
um
The
the
costume
cosplay.
cosplay,
Yeah.
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 For the cosplay, he already, this is not his first time. He won
No.
first prizes as well. He's when it comes to that stuff, like he's really dedicated and amazing.
Yeah.
He was
Not o
very sleepy.
Yeah, I think he'd been up for, like, 30 something hours or something
Yeah,
like that. I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But yeah, like, really talented guy as far as the, costume design and stuff like that goes. Like, from an artistic perspective, from a crafted perspective, from a technical perspective. Yeah, yeah,
Amazing.
pretty talented. But yeah, no, it was fun. We got a little bit spicy and a little bit salty, but, like, I felt like we were able to do that and still kind of, like, have good conversations,
Oh yeah.
and it definitely kind of was like it was a little reassuring for me too because both you and I were feeling pretty bummed going into it,
Mm.
and I didn't feel like we were basically having to fight, um, other opinions about CitizenCon. Like everybody was just pretty upfront and honest, and like there was some positive things that people felt good about, and then some that nobody felt good about. So like I think yeah, I think it was a good and balanced discussion.
I feel like Paul did what I would not be able to do in a way, being a really good host and just going with the flow, just allowing
Mm,
each group to take charge and then just like shape it. He was just
yeah,
shaping it
I think
because
you kind of have to do that with a 24-hour
yeah, and we were the second
podcast.
one. So
Yeah.
before us, it was a completely different show, and then after us, I listened to. After us was Tomato, and like I mean, it was really some really good content creators on. Quite an honor to be, in the same thing with them. But what I want to say is like I listened to some later ones, and there were a lot of people who disagreed with us,
Yeah.
and a lot of
Well,
those
of
who
course.
did agree with us. But Paul was always trying to find a way to, not really prove anyone wrong in a way,
Yeah.
because it's all opinions in the end, right? We were talking about
Yeah.
how we feel about
Yeah.
something that happened. Okay, so I mean that's basically what we're going to talk about CitizenCon in the news as well. But yeah, apart from that, it's been a while. We've been playing New World. Like both of us have been playing New World. I ended up not really enjoying it, which is a bummer because I've been waiting for it for many years now. And finally, yesterday, I decided to stop playing and and uninstall it.
Mm.
That part of it is also because I'm really going through a rough like period when it comes to my depression and everything, and I was probably having too much of an expectation. I needed that MMO to like pull me into its void and make me forget about everything else, and it just did not click in a way. Like there's a lot of things that I don't like that are happening there, but like it's not. I can't say it's a bad game or anything like that. Quite the opposite. I think New World is a very successful um, and fun game to play with a lot of. It's something that I would like to see in Star Citizen as well, where they took so much from other games and MMOs and
Yeah.
like shaped it into their own kind of niche, and then gave it to us. And you when you're playing, everyone will see different games in New World, and you're gonna be like, oh, this reminds me of that game and that game, and it's all the games that you've enjoyed, and it just
Yeah.
wakes that
At
those
the same
memories, right?
time, though, I mean, like, I've been playing pretty casually, and I'm still enjoying it, but, like, it feels like it's pretty obvious that it's in that rough stage that every MMO is in when they're brand new,
True. At some
like
point, sometimes it feels like beta even, and
yeah, yeah, yeah. But,
also
yeah, I don't know.
there was a huge bummer with the whole
Yeah,
server
no server
issues and all that,
transfers.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I avoided that thankfully just because like, I'm only playing with a small group, I'm not trying to play with, like, with a I initially looked into, like, joining Salty Mike
Mm.
or Paul and his crew and stuff like that, but, with just the utter shit show that US East servers have been, I just decided, you know what? Like, with the queues and stuff, it's just not worth it. So, like, me and, like, some of my real life friends just said, "Let's pick a West server with no queue, don't really care, so long as we can just kinda, like, play on the server and not have to wait in line for hours to get in, and that's so far has been pretty successful for us because we're all on the same server, nobody has to wait to play, it's not a shit show, we haven't had to deal with any of the, like, the server moving servers and being region locked and stuff like that, so, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we've managed to avoid a lot of that,
I feel
thankfully,
like
but yeah.
whoever managed to like wait for the first week is probably having a much better experience than us who started like day one or whatever.
Probably, yeah, yeah.
Um, I did play another game and streamed it, and this was inspired by, well, Delicia. She's a mod in my stream and streaming now as well, and a really good friend. And her friend Collector, they were streaming this game. It's called I'm a Fish or I Am Fish, and it has this little like Pixar Disney kind of Finding Nemo vibe and look and whatnot. And watching them, at first I was like, "What? Come on, what the crap is this?" But then actually, I ended up getting the game for myself because it was so much fun watching other people fail in it. Because you're a fish trying to escape, and you're like rolling in your
Oh,
bowl, and you have
I
flying
think we might
fish.
need to switch Discord servers
Oh,
because you
really?
have bugged out for me. I
I
don't hear
I
you
will I will.
anymore.
On my end, it's perfectly fine. But yeah, it says region automatic.
Ooh, robot.
What about now? Test.
Okay, that's better. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was okay on my end, but yeah, maybe
Still a
my
little
upload.
robot-y. We'll see if it recovers.
Maybe it's my internet being funky. My upload.
Okay, that's better. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay. I think it's good.
So yeah, so basically, I've beat the game, and I don't know, I can recommend it. It's like super cute and everything, but in reality, it's brutal. It's very difficult. It's bizarre in a way. Like you play four different fishes. One is just a goldfish. You don't have any like superpowers. The other one is like piranha, where you can like bite things, and then you end up in a hospital, like freaking turning everything into freaking blood bath and like swimming through blood, and like, yeah, you're a puffer fish, you end up in someone's stomach and they puke you out and what. It's like really gross and
Jesus.
disgusting actually, but it's such a crazy mixture. But actually in reality it's like a huge like puzzle and skill check game, and it's fun more than I
Hmm,
expected.
interesting.
I'm a fish.
Yeah, no. The
Hashtag
only
not
other
sponsored.
game this is, I guess, for people who caught the our segment on the Astropub, this will probably be surprising to you because I was saying I was pretty burnt out on Star Citizen in general, but uh, uh, t- there were a couple. I guess we'll touch on this in the news, but like there were a couple announcements to the 315 patch that actually kind of made me want to go and check Star Citizen out again. I should throw the caveat in there that like I'm setting my expectations accordingly. I know it's not going to be super game changing, but I did randomly get the itch to jump into Star Citizen again. I'm just going to wait until 315 goes live, but yeah, until then, I'll enjoy New World, I guess.
Actually, I'm kind of the same. I after Citizencon, I uninstalled the game for the first time, and
Oh,
but I reinstalled it, which I did not expect to happen. But I watched bunch of as usual bunch of streams, and yeah, man, I don't know, like, and I'm in this place where not no game satisfies me anyways, so maybe that's why I'm going through a rough patch with Star Citizen as well,
yeah.
and um yeah, I think it's going to be game changing big time, but I think the frustration will still be there because there's a lot. It's not only what
Yeah.
is happening soon, which
Okay, well,
can take us
oh,
to the
sorry.
news, right?
That's what I
Unless
was
you
going
want
to
to say,
say.
yeah,
No, I was going to say we might as well roll right into it then.
exactly. So the first thing, we're just gonna give you like a brief, um, I don't know how our feels about CitizenCon. You want to start first?
Yeah, sure. I'll keep it brief though, just because, like I said, I mean, just go watch the captain's table if you want kind of more of
In
my
depth.
hot take on it. Now that I've processed it a little bit, maybe I'm not quite as salty feeling, but still overall, I mean, like I said in the beginning, I wasn't particularly hyped. I was pretty disappointed by a lot of things. And I think one of the things that has resonated most with me that a couple different content creators have touched on, Nubifier jumps to mind in this one, and that it's that like it seems like CIG sometimes has problems with knowing the difference between position and I can't remember the other term that they use, or like information though.
Can you repeat
or
just
transparency.
can you repeat the first thing because it for some awkward reason it just stopped.
Oh,
So the difference between what?
exposition and
Oh, exposition.
transparency, meaning that like for example, we got a really solid look from the technical side of things of blah 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 blah. Sorry, server meshing.
Mm.
Um, but we didn't get really any information on what where is it with respect to coming again? I mean, of course, we have the progress tracker. You can see like where they're working on it, but they talked about how the other departments now have to start kind of working it into all their gameplay. What's involved in that? What's like how is it going to affect the game in the initial rollouts that we play right away? Like we saw them kind of touch on the on like how it will handle all the servers and break it down into shards and stuff like that initially, um and how it will be managed, but we didn't really hear anything about like what that will look like when we see the first bits of it in our hand. So we got a lot of technical information in and pretty much all of the panels, but we didn't get a lot of actual like here's how it will affect the game in the near term. And that I think was part of the reason I was so frustrated is that I was looking at, these panels and going, okay, so basically the game isn't basically what I'm hearing now is like it's still going to be a year plus before we see any like clearer steps towards the goal of Star Citizen as an MMO. And that was a bummer for me because like man, I've just been hearing that. I've been hearing it's a year out, it's 2 years out for I mean since basically 3.0 dropped, right? And it just gets tiring after a while, right? Like it makes me less interested in following it closely. It makes me less interested in playing it, and that's kind of the overall feeling I left CitizenCon with was I, I learned some technical aspects, but I didn't learn really anything new with respect to what impacts, the things I'm seeing are gonna have on the game, and when they're realistically going to start being implemented, how they're gonna start being implemented, etcetera. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
For me, I want to say it did not start too bad. Like, and I'm much less experienced than you and most of the people that I talked to as well. And we had the first like Chris Roberts note was whatever, he has to come in and say something.
Yeah.
But then when we had the whole pyro presentation, I actually wanted to talk about this as well. I know we don't have it in the notes now, but today I was watching bunch of of course, bunch of amazing videos are coming out. That's one of the
Mhm.
things that I was
Yeah.
excited for because the content creation just blooms after something like this, regardless of how much info or how good the info is. People who are living off of it will be creative in presenting it in a way where you can actually enjoy it, and I love that. I'm happy for that. Some of them explaining things now much better than the actual CitizenCon, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
actually.
so yeah, the pyro presentation was it, it was interesting. It was a
Yeah.
little bit
Yeah.
backwards, I would say,
Yes, yeah,
but
doing the, like, concept work
yeah,
up to the yes. Even even though, like, the art was really cool, and
it
it
is.
was
It
really
is.
cool seeing how close to the concept art the actual production stuff stayed, it really slowed it messed up the pacing of
Mhm.
that whole presentation and made it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But seeing the Pirate Tree Planet, I mean, it's beautiful. And then the gameplay there, I want to just. I don't want to like talk about it in depth, obviously, but for me, I'm like on a fence. This is for some. This will sound like uh, tinfoil hat, theory. But for me, I'm like split in opinion. Like, is this all real or fake? Or because my experience go doesn't go that back, and
Yeah,
the only thing I saw was 2019, where we had a similar thing with the mission that never
yeah.
came, to the verse. And there's a lot of speculation of
And
some
no,
people
more than just didn't come to the verse, most of the tech that was shown
was not,
and the
yeah,
different aspects of the gameplay that was shown, however underdeveloped, is still
never
not
showed.
here
Yeah.
or even close to, to being here.
So I watched this and I was like, meh, this can all be rigged, and I think it is, but it still doesn't mean that. Well, we're going to touch on that as well, because there's something that we agree happened there, where, or we can just briefly
Sure.
mention it.
I just think it's a vertical slice of like I don't
Yeah,
think it was a mission. I think it
yeah.
definitely was quote unquote rigged in such a way where they took a very like limited slice of Pyro 3 and the outpost tech and stuff like that and the AI pathing and stuff like that that they've been working on and put that into like built a scenario and then
But the
had the player
scenario that, like,
had
an
the
everyday potential option for a scenario that can
yeah,
happen to you as a player
yes,
in
yeah.
an open world
Not a mission.
MMO,
It's just,
right?
and this do we wanna jump right into this and treat this as new or news,
Um,
or do we wanna hold off?
no, we're gonna hold off. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, I mean, it was pleasing. It was an eye candy. The planet looks amazing. And this is something I want to talk to you about. Is this actually wrong? And I guess we can touch on it later, because Pyro, we all envision Pyro as some lawless, crazy place and whatnot. And then you end up on an Earth like planet that is absolutely beautiful. And like today when I watch Morphologis, I think it
Wouldn't say
was.
it's an Earth-like planet, it's a scrublands planet, like, w for vegetation, we saw grasses and lichens. So it's like
I
it's
feel
a
like it's
habitable
definitely
planet.
habitable planet,
Yes, it's
and
habitable, but it's like it's not,
it's barren.
yeah, it's pretty barren,
It doesn't give
It's
me
got a
that
basic
feel. From
biosphere.
what I've seen in the demo, it feels like a really nice place to live, and I was like, how the crap did we not inhabit this? And why is it lawless if it has a planet like this? Because if it's rich in resources and you have a planet as beautiful as that one, why would people not live there? You know what I mean?
Well,
It's not as
the whole
wild.
point the whole point was that people did live there
Uh-huh.
while there was a mining community. That's why there's all the rec stations and stuff like that around the system, right? Like they came in, they basically
So shit
took
happened basically.
what they could easily take and then left,
Okay.
you know? But before that, like you're right in that like people did live there. Like when
Okay.
Pyro was first discovered by the UEE, it had already been discovered by outlaw bands and pioneers and a lot of other people who just basically gone out there, and
Okay.
settled before they even got
That
there,
makes more
right?
sense to me, because I envision it as like fucking molten planets and lava, and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
you go with extreme set of tools. Well, this is like fully livable planet. It's like
Yeah.
it's like Microtech, or even better. Anyways, so that was that one with the ship panel. I loved it. I did not expect to enjoy that one. I honestly like 400 die. Did not fly it yet, but from everything I've seen, it's a ship for me. Finally, we'll see if I change my mind or not. But like, so far, so good. Liberator. We're going to talk about that later in our imagination station. Um, and Banu Merchantman was interesting for me. I'm not interested in a ship, but it looks
I
great,
loved
and
it.
yeah,
I thought it was amazing.
yeah.
But yeah.
So the rest of the panels, to me personally, were very displeasing. It felt like they are either explaining bare bones tech that, in my mind, is not really. I'm not a developer, okay, but
Yeah.
it just feels like it's the tech that exists, and they're explaining this tech rather than what they are doing with it for some things.
Yeah.
Like
Exposition versus transparency again,
yeah,
right? Like we got the deep dives into the tech behind Vulkan and server meshing, but we
yeah.
didn't really get a lot of info on like, okay, so where are we gonna how does this apply to us in the game in the relatively short term instead of in the far future?
I really feel like for people who are interested in Vulkan, or DX12 or
Yeah.
DX11, they can find this in other places on the internet. I don't feel like the studio that I'm, following for a game should explain to me bare bones tech that they did
Okay.
not develop personally.
I have a different opinion of that because I do like the like technical panels and stuff like that. I like the technical lectures and panels and stuff like that. But this year, see, and that's the thing, like in all Citizen Cons, you have those really highly technical panels, but they're usually on
On
a
the side.
separate,
Mhm.
yeah, like on a different stage. Well, in 2019 they were on a different stage or whatever. And in the case of previous Citizen Cons, it was kind of more like yeah, like it was balanced. So you'd get one that was like for example, in 2019, you'd get like the Banu language thing, and
But see,
then the
but
next one would be
that's
like a really
amazing.
technical. I know, that's what I'm saying, right? Like in the previous Citizen Cons, that's how they've done it. They've
Uh-huh.
had the technical panels there for the people who love that. I'm I count myself as one of them, even though I'm not like, I'm not a super technical person. I'm just interested. Um, balanced by kind of more artistic or lore based or like gameplay focused kind of like other panels, and that's a good balance. That's a good citizen con in my opinion, is when you have bit of both.
I agree. I don't necessarily think the technical panel should not be there.
Yeah.
But hear me out. Here's the problem: when they're talking about quanta or quantum.
Oh, that wasn't a technical
Wait,
post.
wait,
Oh, that's almost a whole
wait.
separate one.
Sure,
Oh.
but let me tell you. For the first time, let's say the Tony Z is talking about quanta for the first time on CitizenCon, right?
Right.
That's
Okay.
something you want to hear.
Yes.
And it's technical, right? Because it's back end
Yeah.
that is allowing gameplay. And
Exactly.
this is the idea that came out of Star Citizen developers' brain, and now they're turning it into a reality in
Yeah.
game, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gen 12 is not Star Citizen specific.
Well, Gen 12 is, Vulcan isn't.
Okay, Vulcan isn't Star Citizen specific. So I don't
Yeah.
want the person to sit there and for an hour and a half explain to me what DirectX 11 and Vulcan are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Their
Honestly,
implementation
I
maybe,
missed that
yeah,
panel.
but like,
I
well,
need to
see
watch
what
it
I mean?
still,
Like,
but
so I,
yeah.
I I I streamed it live, so I went through the entire thing, and it was very annoying. Now, the one that I thought I'm gonna have a lot of fun with was a sound panel. Unfortunately, it was in my
Yeah.
eyes disaster because they just did not explain it properly. Because that's exactly what I was just saying.
Yeah.
They developed a software that helps them with sound tech.
Rapidly iterate.
Yeah,
Yeah, like,
it's a great
rapidly put
tool, right?
in. Totally.
And it's a tool that CIG developed, and it's a great panel if you are expecting a panel about the tool that helps the development. You
Yeah.
cannot name it sound and not have a single sound in it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
so misleading,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
So these
Well,
are
that's
the
the
little
thing.
things that were like I'm so confused.
I I feel like if it was a live CitizenCon panel, they
A bit
would have done
different,
a demo. They would have,
probably.
like, they would have done like, like, "Okay, so here's us here, let's actually use this tool right now and just, like, come up with some sounds. Let's just do that live," kind of a thing, right? Like,
The whole thing feels like
but instead it was like 2 people sitting too close to each other,
nodding
pretending to have a
heads.
conversation while they're
It's so
basically
bad.
just reading a script. Like, again, like, it sucks because, like, man, like, the sound design team in Star Citizen does a great
Mashing.
job, and I'm
Absolutely.
excited for them to have this tool,
Yeah.
so that they can do their job even better. But yeah,
Yeah.
just like that one really fell flat for sure.
And then Tony Z panel, I just don't even want to talk about it much because
Nope.
for me there was just like
But I mentioned this on the captain's table. I expected that. I
well,
As soon as I saw Tony Z stream of thought, I was like, this is gonna be a nothing panel. This is them wheeling out Tony Z because they know that it gets everybody excited when he does his ramble talks. And historically, yeah, like if this was 2018, 2017, I would have loved this because at that point we were still basically full Imagine. But at this point, it's like we've seen the quanta system working. Like we know that you guys are actually producing it, and you're basically just going to throw an hour-long panel at me that what that that
It
that
just
doesn't.
feels like refurbished material. Like we
It's
basically knew these things, and
they
then
were
it's his
trying for hype.
imagination.
They were trying for hype, but it
Well, I
just
think they
backfired
failed.
entirely because 100%, because at this point, one, we knew everything that they were really talking about, and two, like we're at a point where it's like, okay, like we've been hearing your stream of thought for 5+ years now. I need more than this. Like this isn't going to get me hyped.
Yeah,
So I will say the
Eh,
one thing about this panel that I did kind of like was
him touching his microphone all the time.
oh god, no. No, that was so bad. No, I liked how they really finally went out and basically told people, "Yo, you with your Hull D, guess what?" Like you're so stoked, you think you're going to be a billionaire rocking your Hull D everywhere. That is a very specific ship, and they went into kind of the detail of why. Like, and honestly, to people who have been paying attention, it's not really going to
Mm.
be so much news, right? Like we knew that cargo was going to be physicalized. It was going to take time to load and unload these big ships, and that the way that the web of logistics works with quanta, you can't just fly everywhere in a Hull
But
D.
yeah,
Like
but yeah, man. But even I've been here for like 2 years or so, and I've heard this story already about
yeah,
loading and
oh yeah.
unloading ships. It's nothing
But this
new.
is
Nothing new.
no, it's not new, but there's still a lot of people. I would say more so I feel vindicated because there's so many people I see out there today talking about basically bigger is better with cargo ships, and it's just not true.
Yeah,
Like
I think it's gonna. A
they
lot
have a
of
role,
people. Yeah, yeah. Specific role. I think a lot of people will be very happy that they can melt their ships before Star Citizen launches and reassemble their fleet to something more accurate for their gameplay. And then probably some of these
yeah.
ships will be bought in game if you need it for a
Like
specific operation.
I mean, yeah, like I said, like for the most part, anybody who's really thought about it should probably have already kind of made this connection. But I know that there are a lot of people who haven't. And I just think it was kind of nice to just have Tony Z flat out say, "You're not gonna use like a giant super tanker, you know, or like super cargo
Even
ship to do
Caterpillar, like
delivery
you're not
missions."
like we do stupid things now, like you go and just point A, click, point B, make money.
Yeah,
It's going to be
yeah,
different, and it's good to hear that they're sticking to.
yeah.
Um,
Though I will say that, like, a I think a Caterpillar is still gonna be a pretty good option
oh
for
yeah,
because just like all the bays open and you can basically just pull the cargo right out the sides, you know?
let's wait and see how that goes because we either need lifts or some new ground vehicles or I don't know. Yeah, let's see where that goes. But I agree. Yeah, also Caterpillar is amazing. Um, so to round this up, the production level of the whole Citizencon was absolute dog shit that a lot of money went into, and whoever worked in any kind of production, like myself, who just left scratching their heads like what the fuck just happened here, who did this edit, who did this, live, like whatever, like everything was so bad. I'm just now we're going to forget about this in a month. It doesn't really matter.
Which sucks because honestly, like previous Citizen Cons, it's definitely
It's just
not the
not a
way it is,
level
right?
of production that you expect from a company that actually kicks butts. I wouldn't be surprised that this was third party and doing the whole edit and production. It was just
I
not
don't
good.
think it is.
The camera work was disgusting with like, full frame eyes and nose of these, you know,
The reason I
developers.
don't think the reason I don't think it was third party is because we had a Citizen Con that was managed by a third party production company. And if you think these cuts were bad, oh, but
Dude, this so yeah, like I'm so confused about it.
there was I can't remember if it was 2018. It might have been. I think it was 2018. where there was a third party company that was doing all the camera work and cutting
Yeah.
and stuff like that, but like they're not they're not involved in the development. They don't know who people are, so they were like constantly cutting to the wrong person and to the wrong camera, or like on the wrong person because they don't know. Like
They don't know. Yeah.
they're not involved with CIG,
There
but
was
yeah, anyways.
recently the same thing in Formula One world, actually, when Force India team was rebranded to Aston Martin, and they had this huge opening and live public act, whatever, and they brought like James, whoever, Craig, what's his name? Craig, James Bond. What's his name?
Oh, God.
Something Craig. I don't know.
Yeah,
Craig.
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig and some chick I don't even know, who is like a professional caster and everything, but neither of them have any idea about what the fuck Formula One is. And then whoever was doing like
Oh, that's embarrassing.
live, and it was live, and it was watched
Oh,
by like
that's embarrassing.
millions of people. But yeah, these things happen.
Yeah,
Whatever. But the
yeah.
problem is, this went through post production. This was not live. So listen, if these things were happening live, sure. And Tony Z fucking doing this thing, yeah,
Pulling on his
it's
mic and
live. But then you also
yeah,
have, someone tells him, "Hey, man, stop." I live in, well, not anymore, but I used to live in these studio situations, or where everyone is like wired, and you tell them, "Hey, stop doing that." You're
yeah.
the sound engineer in this moment, his head like fucking starts exploding, and there's smoke coming out of his ears, and
Yeah.
there's something wrong. Like, this has to be fixed even in
Well,
live
and
production.
that's the thing. Like, if it were pre-recorded, I would have thought that they would have been like, as soon as he started pulling on
Stop.
obviously it's annoying him. So cut,
Change
fix
it.
his mic,
Put the mic
and then
outside. We can see the
yeah,
mic. This is not
yeah,
Leonardo DiCaprio in fucking Titanic. It's Tony
yeah.
Z talking about the fucking panel about Quanta. No one cares if we can see a fucking
The mic.
microphone on his
Yeah.
gray shirt. It's,
How?
and it's
Just put
not
a
branded
fucking
either.
condenser
So,
mic out there. Yeah.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah.
And I can talk about this for like 10 hours straight. Like, all the mistakes, I was losing my shit while watching it
Yeah.
live, man. Like, it was just so bad. And I just want
I
to make
think
sure everyone understands, I have
I was
nothing
just
against
yeah.
CIG developers doing this. They're not professionals. I have zero expectations of them understanding. Like, the only person there who is actually presentable in that way is the one that is professional in that way, which is Jared Huckabee. That's his trade. He used to he used to act in theaters, and whatnot. So he knows what he's doing. But the others, of course, they don't know what to do with themselves. Put the camera in front of you. Try streaming, okay? Like, it's like you don't know what you're supposed to do, what you're
Yeah.
doing. But if you're pre-recording this, then someone says, okay, because there's cuts already, and you stop the stop the thing, move
Yeah.
the microphone, or tell Tony Z, hey, man, you're like smashing the mic constantly.
The only thing that I'll play devil's advocate a little bit
Sure.
here. Um, I will cut them a little bit of slack. Jared, everybody else, like I said, I mean, normally I think they do really good work, but I
Yeah.
think I
Yeah.
think for one thing, this was not something that they have done before, like tried to do a pre-recorded Citizencon. And two, I think in a lot of cases they were probably time limited,
You're playing a
would be my
very
guess.
bad devil's advocate here.
Because
Because these
like
are the things that are fixed in like 10 seconds. Not, no, I'm not asking them to like change the freaking setting, or studio or whatever. It's like, stop, move his microphone outside, start over, you're done. That's it. Like, that's the fix.
you wouldn't even had to like you could have literally just like had it cut and then
Tell
cut
him.
back in.
You could just
Yeah,
tell him.
stop it, and then like you don't even have to you don't have to redo the conversation. But what I mean
No.
specifically is like when you actually looked at, like, Jared, for example, posted his like flight itinerary.
I know.
um
No, they did.
Dude, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
flying all over the place and
Yeah.
like, equipment and shit like that. Like I can see this being a situation where like, you know,
This is why,
I'll give
like,
you a
if
mulligan for this because it was like, like this was definitely something that was their first time trying to put something like this all together. And, with the flying all over the place and the equipment and getting all the schedules organized and stuff like that, I can see it being pretty overwhelming. But yeah. But at the same time, again, you can smile all you want.
So what you're
Yes, there was a
saying,
lot of money that went into
what yeah,
this.
exactly. And what you're saying is also like the structure of the whole Citizencon, which I think we both agree was not good. And that's where that comes to. Like that's where you can give them some leeway because they did not probably plan on doing this long term. And that's why it's structured kind of poorly. You had two hyped events at the beginning and then nothing, and like very long whatever. Like all this goes into that. Like, okay, they didn't have time to like properly make this. But these like tiny technical things, nah, that just like there's no excuse for that. They're just, dude, listen.
All
Like
right.
home production, people do it so much better than what they did there with like much less. So I don't know. It's just not good. Anyways,
It wasn't great. And yes. Okay, so I think that probably does sum up kind of like our opinions of
yeah,
CitizenCon so
that's what I'm
far.
saying. We're gonna forget about these
Yeah.
technical things in a couple of months, and it doesn't really
Yeah.
matter. It's just a
I
bummer.
just wish there was more technical stuff, like with respect to like the actual panels to
Uh,
keep us going for longer because again, like I think that was probably my biggest gripe is that like we learned little tidbits, but for the most part,
well,
for the most part, like I have nothing to be excited about because most of the stuff that I was shown I already knew about, and I don't have any more like of a better picture on when I'm going to see these in game and how they're going to improve my game. You know what I mean? So yeah.
yes. What you just said now, I have to bring this up, and we're gonna probably have a conversation. But keep in mind that this is exactly what you've said. They just put in words in a different way.
What do you mean?
I'll explain. From a newer backer perspective, I 100% expected either something big to happen during CitizenCon
Hmm.
or some date or dates.
Yeah.
And um people are saying, well, you're asking for what happened before and then comparing what I'm asking for with like blunt lies about like miscalculated dates and empty promises. And it's like, would you rather have empty promises or this realistic, nothing basically? And I'm saying to that, I want something in the middle. I want like one date or one thing to happen, and that is true. Like I want them to say, okay, in patch 316, we're bringing this, server meshing. Let's say I'm just which we're saying like, oh my god, yeah, server meshing. Yeah. But in reality, guys, like we've been waiting for server meshing for so long. We've been waiting for Pyro for so long.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for
Well, here's the thing. Um, the reason I don't expect dates, for example, on something like server meshing entirely is because it's on the progress tracker, and I know for a fact that they're working on it all of next year because it's on there. Like I know that. But what with specifically with respect to how is this going to improve my game in the near term, I'm not necessarily looking at dates, but I would have liked to seen something like for example, if you look on the progress tracker, there is a bunch of server meshing related tech that they talked about, like the hybrid system, the replication layer, stuff like that. That's finishing, and it's already either finished in September or is finishing, soon. And there was no mention on like, okay, what does that mean? Like so that when I say that I would have liked to have like a when, I'm not looking for like a, server meshing is going to be out now, but I would have liked to see like, okay, well, there was a ton of stuff regarding this on the progress tracker that's wrapping up, and we didn't hear anything about that. What did that mean for server meshing? Like all
mm,
these things that you were basically talking about how they worked. Well, all that work is wrapped up. So, you know, so what does that mean then? Like it was all in the progress tracker. I've been following, you know,
yeah. Well,
I've been
that's another
paying
thing.
attention.
We talked about this on Captain's Table as well, but not everyone follows the tracker. And then there's gonna be these guys who say, well, then start follow or whatever. I don't know. I think it's okay that when you have that one, then why do we have anything? Okay, if we're all supposed to follow progress tracker,
Mm.
then we don't need ISC, SCL,
Well,
CitizenCon, nothing. Just we don't need anything. Then we're
yeah,
just gonna follow the
that's
progress tracker.
that's where I come in, like, with what you were saying, where you want something in the middle. Like, that's exactly what I want. Something in the middle of that, you know? Like, I don't expect them to come out and say server meshing 2016 because I've seen that already. And I don't expect them to basically just I don't want them to at the same time leave it to strictly what's on the progress tracker because like I just said, like I'm following the progress tracker and I see a bunch of tasks wrapping up, but I don't know what that means to the game. So what I'm looking for is something in the middle that is basically, you know, not we're not going to give exact dates at this point, but like this wrapped up. So this means like in the near future, we're going to be trying to work this tech into the game like so, you know? So
Yeah,
not an exact
I know
when,
what
but
you're
like a
saying. Yeah.
sort of when, like a soft when.
I'll tell you something though. Um, it's not gonna work like that, man. Like a lot of people have been following the project for many, many years, and CIG did some bad things in the past, and you guys feel burnt. And a lot of people stopped following the project and stopped investing money into it because they were giving bad dates, for
Yeah.
example, right?
Yeah.
However, if you are doing, and this is not even in my opinion, this is just how the reality works. If you're doing a crowd-funded project and you never come up with any dates, you're kind of fucked. You need to give dates.
Yeah, but
Hey, I'm sorry. I know that what you're gonna tell me. Like they tried that and they can't hit the
no, no.
date.
In this case, I think like obviously they're not going to do that. Again, what I said, where they give you the date, but like they've come. I think they've struck a good. Like if you want specific dates on where things are at, that progress tracker is the best we've had yet because it
Okay,
shows
so
literally
wait.
where they are in the progress.
Okay, I agree.
But
But I
but
have a
but there's a
counter
lot of
question to
technical
that.
stuff on there that I would like to know. Like what does that actually mean? Like
Do
I
you
see where the
think?
date ends,
Do you
but
think a new backer, like 4 months old, just Will and Kate dropped on my mind, but like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
4 months old, not content creator, like backer of the game that plays every now and then, that does not follow progress tracker yet because they
yeah,
don't.
yeah,
How
and
do
it
you
can be
think?
pretty
Wait,
overwhelming.
but listen to this. How difficult would it be to in during the fucking Citizencon they read the dates, use the dates from progress tracker? Is that so difficult? Or
No,
see what I
and
mean? Like
actually,
you can
yeah,
say things. It doesn't matter that
yes.
they're in the fucking progress tracker. You know what I mean?
Honestly, they should have been referencing back to the progress
Exactly,
tracker a
exactly.
bunch. Yeah,
That's what
like
I'm
saying
asking
like,
for. It's so simple.
yeah, that's that. Yeah, okay. Well, there we go. That like I would be satisfied with that too. Actually, I would love for them to have
Even
basically in that server meshing pattern
right?
said or,
And you
or
know
a
it, but that
panel.
reminds you, right? Like, oh, you
Yeah,
don't have to go and dig while they're talking about it. They just put a picture and
yeah.
said, like you can see in the progress tracker,
Yes, yeah,
right?
like, that would
It's
have been great for them to just
fucking
basically been like, "Yeah, okay, so, like, this and this tech that we're talking about, as you can see here, like, we've wrapped up here. We've got a little bit more work on this to do before we can put this in, etcetera." Like,
everyone happy, man. People who don't
yeah.
follow progress
Oh,
tracker,
dude.
and you know
Yeah.
what? If you do this and you use progress tracker in your explanation, you know what's gonna happen? More people will start looking at the progress
Yeah.
tracker as well.
Yeah.
So, so
Yeah.
how is this something that does not
Yeah.
cross mind of someone who
I don't
works
know.
in CIG, man? Like I don't
I
get it.
I should message Jake. I've messaged him a couple times on Twitter. He's actually really, really responsive. So maybe I'll do that and be like, "Hey, just a heads up for next time, maybe you guys should be referencing kind of, on the progress tracker, kind of some of
Yeah,
these things that you're talking about.
you
Cause
can
like
you
that would be
can give
really,
him a timestamp where we're talking about this, so
yeah.
that you don't have to type everything
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
or
Something like
whatever. You
that.
can just tell him. I don't care. But
Yeah.
okay. Oh, that was longer about sitcom than expected. But you know what? We get sitcom once a year or once every 2 years, depending on the situation. And I think it's okay to have a little bit of conversation about it. If you want to know
Totally.
more about how we felt while it was still hot, like we said already at under the video, you can see the links to episodes of Captain's Table where we go deeper into everything about
Some
Citizen.
aspects. I
Yeah.
definitely looking back on those conversations, there's definitely things that I didn't really like I forgot to talk about
Mm,
because I fucked
true.
up my time zones and
Yeah.
signed up
That's
for a
crazy.
9 a.m. slot and then realized it was actually 6 a.m.
Yeah.
because Eastern time.
It was
But
crazy that Paul did this. You're from Canada. I'm from Serbia, which is like Central Europe,
yeah,
and then Central European time zone. And then Diablos is from
from
Australia.
Australia.
It's
Yeah.
fucking crazy. But hey, you
Yeah.
know what? The sound was okay as well. We don't have
Sound
any
was actually really
latency issues,
was
which
quite
is
good.
kudos to Discord for that, man. I
Mhm.
expected shit show, honestly.
So I will say the weird thing, listening to that recording, I listened back to it. Diablos was super quiet, but like when we were talking to him, he was like a good volume. So I don't know what the hell was up with that, but
Well,
yeah.
CIG happened with that. CIG production happened to Paul and his filters. But
Yeah.
I don't blame him. That's different. When
Yeah.
like you are in these situations, I'm not gonna talk shit about it. Like if you are a fucking half a billion company, then come on, man. Be fair, most of the times, home productions that we have around Star Citizen are higher quality sound than what we get in CIG, and especially not
That's
CIG,
true actually.
ISC, and especially SCL. Like SCL is a catastrophe. Couple of minutes longer to set it up properly. If we can do it, they can do it. Anyways, to continue with the news, we got two new ships purchasable. 400i Origin, finally, which used to be 404 Error and all the memes. And oh my god, Maso, are you there?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
You're
I've just
looking
become an
good, man.
abstract. Yeah, I've just become an abstract art
There we
painting.
go.
Sweet.
So just like and that happened when I said 404 error.
Ah, that's true. Yeah.
So
Oh, it wasn't even on purpose. No.
yeah, so 400 eyes in,
Okay.
and
I have to say that like I'm on record on a previous Straight Outta Stanton episode, basically just ragging on the design of the 400, and I will say that now that it's in game, it actually looks okay. There's still a lot of I'm still not crazy about it. I'm not crazy about the way it looks, but they managed to make the proportions on it look a little bit less goofy with the super long skinny nose.
the nose
And
kind of has
yeah.
purpose now, which is interesting. I think that
Yeah, and
adds a lot.
before it was like way too narrow to have like in the concept art we saw, the
Mm.
leaked version or whatever, like the nose was way too narrow to basically be anything useful. So it's the fact that they did kind of thicken it up a little bit that I think makes the proportions of the ship look a little bit better. I'm still not crazy about it. I'm not gonna get one.
I got
But
one
yeah.
immediately. The
Yeah.
reason I got one, I think it was not surprise for those who follow
Yeah.
this, because it
Nope. It's got a
resembles a ship.
bridge.
Yeah, it has a bridge that is not like in front of the ship. I
Yeah.
wish it was like a little bit more back. Do you know what? I kind of wish we had like options of like these ships without guns, for example, and stuff like that. Because if I dismount the gun, or if they could like uh go into the hull,
Mm. Yeah.
right? Because it just breaks the whole like beauty of the ship, the lines and everything.
Especially when
Anyways,
like the designs of the guns oftentimes don't match up with
don't
the
match at
design of the
all,
ship.
right? Yeah.
Like for example, if you put like Maxox neutron repeaters on there, it would look just fine because
Yeah, yeah. They're white
Maxoxes are
and blue.
those
Yeah.
white and they're sleek and
Mhm.
they look very Origin, right? But you put something like a Badger repeater on
Well,
it or
which is
something and
on
it
it by
looks
default, by the way.
yeah, when that looks like it came off of like an anvil or a Drake ship,
Yeah.
you know? So,
And
yeah.
okay, so just like briefly, you can have X1, I think it's called, or Nox. It's confirmed. I've seen it. It can be packed in the front of the ship. The front of the ship, it only purposes to carry a gravlev kind of, or a bike, whatever. It's not connected to the rest of the interior, so you can't like go up there and like walk into a ship. The back of the ship has a ramp with cargo, only 40 SCU, which is, I don't know, man. It's kind of a bummer for me, but when I think about it, it's actually not that big of a deal. That's like 40 SEU that you can lift up, but actually that hangar is at least twice as big. So when I think about it, when cargo becomes physicalized, you will be able to like probably put things around and then fill your lift with more cargo if you need to.
Sure.
Plus, they have
The
these
only
like
the
hmm?
disadvantage to that would be, like, if they start physicalizing cargo in such a way that, like, that it starts getting chucked around the ship if you're, like, doing maneuvers or something like that, eh,
Oh yeah.
like,
You do have
'cause,
these
like
these cold chambers with components though, and there's a lot of like you can walk around them. And the first thing I thought of is like, wait, I can keep food supplies here. It's cold. You know what I mean? Like,
mm,
I don't know if you've seen like if you guys haven't seen, you know what? I'm linking that in the description as well. Morph did architect reviews, and it's just great. It's back to like what he usually does. So he goes like into details.
yeah.
I agree with you. It's very awkward that there's captain's room and like two crew in a small
Yeah.
ship like this.
Yeah.
But whatever. You know, and yeah, it's just a cargo. It's less than Cati Black, which is kind of a bummer, man. Like I don't know. It's okay. It's not a cargo ship, and a lot of people
Yeah,
are putting like
exactly.
on paper this ship does not have any place. You know?
That we had this conversation on Answer the
Yes.
Call,
Yeah.
like, that is the wrong way to look at ships,
It's a great
you
ship
know?
for so many things, though. If you're not a cargo hauler, basically,
Yeah.
you can do box deliveries. You can be a bounty hunter in it. You can salvage like the space derelict sites and bring
Or
cargo
and
on
this
board.
and
Like there's
again,
so many
like,
things.
this is the thing, like, when we are actually well, when slash if we were
Yeah,
actually living in a universe, you might just take it
it's
because you
home.
like it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's home.
exactly,
It
and
looks great
that's the thing
inside.
that
There's
that's the thing,
enough.
like
Sorry, go for it.
no, I was just saying, like, that's the thing that I think a lot of people miss when they're looking at something on paper, especially with origin ships.
Yeah,
It's an origin ship, it's a cruiser, it's like, like,
it's a
it's
yacht, but yeah.
sure, okay. I don't know the actual
Sorry.
terms, but I'm just saying, like, it's not it's a luxury ship, it's not like you don't go onto a luxury catamaran and go like, can't
Not
fit
enough
any
cargo.
cargo on here." Yeah, like
so, so it's just a mindset of us playing the game right now where cargo is, cargo
yeah.
and that's money making.
Well, and literally, like, anything you're doing in the game right now is is very narrowly focused on certain aspects like bounty hunting, cargo hauling, missions, etcetera, like,
Exactly.
like yeah.
This one is definitely living and probably will be really good for exploration. Um, there's one
I would say
detail.
sightseeing, maybe touring.
You think so?
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like whenever I see like origin exploration, that's another thing that I'm hypothesizing here. So
Okay.
just bear with me. Like when you see an origin explorer, I could see that ending up being more of a origin touring ship more than like a hardcore explorer kind of a thing, like in deep space. But I could be wrong. I'm just
Why do you think
hypothesizing by what I've
Aquila is
seen.
more of exploration ship than 400i, for example?
Mainly because the focus of constellations, I mean, it's right there in the lore. Like the constellation chassis is utility focused. Um
Phoenix?
yeah, but it's like that's a variant and I'm just basically saying that like and like I said, I'm
Yeah,
hypothesizing
yeah,
here,
I
but
know,
like
I know. I'm just trying to figure out
the
why.
goal of origin is always luxury first, utility second. So I could end up I could very much see if you're going for like long expeditions, like taking a 400i may not be the best choice for those, especially when you start dealing with like repair. Like if it ends up being like really difficult to repair an origin ship in the field compared to, for example, something like a
Or,
misc, which is more utilitarian,
well, yeah,
or
Misk maybe, but
the
RSI
even the
though.
RSI.
Well,
RSI is like
yeah, I don't know.
the whole point is like they're super
Very
common
common, but you're
and
not in a
they're
place where there's things. Even pyro, like it's not like you're gonna find a repair shop for Aquila in pyro or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, the
Sure,
parts might
but like
ship longer, but then they should be more
parts.
sturdy and durable as well because they're high quality, right?
Dude, I drove a BMW. There's no there's nothing about a performance focused or luxury focused vehicle
Wait,
that guarantees quality.
you guys think that BMWs are in states you think that's the high quality car? Like except for like performance?
They they're marketed as a
Oh
luxury
god,
sport
no.
car and a
Okay.
performance car.
I can tell you here people would laugh at that and in Europe. Like Beamers are I love Beamers, don't get me wrong, but they are performance cars first,
Yeah.
not luxury. That for
Ooh,
that you go Aston Martin.
7 Series. Okay,
No,
well
no, 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 no,
that's a
no,
whole
no.
different level. Like
Well, that's
we're talking
Origin,
like
brother. Like, right? Continental, like for example, is like
Bentley. Yeah.
super crazy performance, super luxury, and
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
sturdy, right?
Yes, but what I'm saying is that doesn't guarantee that the parts are going to be
Sure.
that it's going to be super durable. In fact, some of the highest end luxury cars are notoriously unreliable.
But they
You
already
know,
started with it. If you think about it, like, what's the shield size on Andromeda, and what's the shield size on 400i? 400i actually has 300.
I
Right?
that's not really what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about like for example, they mentioned that you know how you had like the different component types, like you have military,
Okay,
competition,
yeah.
so that's kind of like how I see Origin is like competition is like high performance but low durability kind of a thing. And I could absolutely see, like Origin ending up kind of being like that. It's luxury focused, high performance, but they're finicky and they break a lot. Like you better have a good mechanic or a lot of money, you know. But this is the other thing too, and I'm not even necessarily thinking components. I'm also thinking like they've talked about repair, like different hulls
I
taking
know, yeah.
different like types of materials and stuff to repair. Well, like if an origin ship is built with all sorts of like fancy composites and stuff like that, like and you're out in the middle of nowhere, how are you going to patch that hull up? Like I guess you could staple some plates to the
I think
to
you
the
can
outside of it, but
fix it the same way you can fix when it's hull, the same way you can
we'll have
fix
to
your
see.
Drake
I'm
ship, right?
imagining here. Like
It might
I'm
look
already
like
into the
shit,
imagine section.
but it should do the work, right?
Maybe,
By the
yeah,
way, just
yeah,
to explain something here, I'm a Misk fanboy, not Origin. Uh,
yeah.
this ship, I wish there were other options with proper bridge that resemble boats and ships like in real life more. That just caters to me. But I would be surprised if what you're saying is true. I really expect Origin to be like very high quality product based on its price and luxury as well. But both
I
of us
get
can
what
be
you're
wrong. Like
saying.
I
I
don't
get what you're.
know.
Oh yeah, none of us know. We're
Yeah.
already into the imagine
Yeah,
section,
yeah,
like I
yeah, yeah,
said.
for sure.
But like, but yeah, I just, I mean, with in real life, anyways, high performance and high luxury does not equal high durability. In fact, oftentimes it's the opposite.
Rolls
But
Royce.
a Land Rover too,
What
like
about Land Rover?
notoriously unreliable.
Yeah, but they're known for that. They're not
Yeah,
luxury. They're not luxury
they're
vehicles.
they're I would say they're into the
Holy
luxury.
shit!
Dude, the
Looks
new
like
Land Rovers?
Europe.
Absolutely.
Looks like Europe and yeah, but it's not like uh, for example, Aston Martin. All wheel terrain vehicle.
Oh,
That's
sure, but again, like that's a whole other level. And even then,
yeah.
like you guarantee that like, you know, well, actually we know Aston Martin's Ferrari especially, Ferrari are incredibly temperamental. Um but yeah, anyways, whatever.
I don't know.
Wow,
My
we've
my
already
Ferraris are
tangented.
fine, man. I don't have any problems with. uh, okay, so there's one little detail. You can find bunch of videos already because PTR is live for 315. A lot of content creators have access, and you can find bunch of videos. Like I've said, Morphologis one linked below if you want to find out more about 400i. There's one thing that I haven't seen anyone talk about, and I don't expect people to, but I've noticed something nice. There's in crew areas there are these huge panels above, like triangle shape panels above the beds that have nothing on it. It's just a a, a white empty triangle, and and this literally reeks chip uh, personalized customization in terms of like style and what. With us being able to, which we're going to talk about in a minute, with us being able to persist through 30Ks and whatnot, and especially later down the road, you're gonna put some plushies maybe in, or certain decorations. I think ship decorating, just like hangar decorating, will be a thing. Maybe not for everyone. A lot of people will not give a crap about it, but some people will want to have a poster up there, or something like that.
Mhm.
And I like that. And the natural lighting in the rooms, man. I don't. Morph says this as well, which I 100% agree, man. We need more. He calls them portholes. Those are not portholes, but whatever. They are windows in the rooms, and it just changes so much. He parts a ship where like with like natural sunlight in a game, and
Yeah,
it just breathes life into the room. It's
totally. Yeah.
so freaking good, man. I love that. So yeah. All right.
Excuse me.
Uh, do you have to add anything about 400? Well, skins. So
Yeah, there was some controversy about the skins.
there's
I
three
don't really
skins.
understand it, but yeah.
Well, I think here's what I think. It came with three skins that you can buy in a bundle, or each one separately. By the way, it looks the best with its basic skin. Just saying.
I think Origin looks best
It's
white in
just
my
yeah.
opinion, but
Uh, and no,
except for the 300s. I like the 300s in fun
sure,
colors,
but
but
even white 300 looks good. It's not like it's bad.
yeah.
Um, but then few days after the release, they released a separate skin that is a little bit more expensive. It's like $11, and it's black and gold, which is usually, it looks like one of
Executive
those
colors.
executive slash advocacy
Yeah.
skins. And I'm very confused with this. Some people are pissed off because they didn't
Yeah,
release it the same day when they bought the ship, so they can buy it together.
I don't know. There was something about like people assuming that they had to buy a certain version of the ship I don't know. Like this is all news to me because like I said, I don't really care about the 400i, so I
Yeah.
haven't even been to the store page. Like I don't
You know
honestly
what's funny?
that was something about this
On that,
Citizen Con too. Like I
you
had
didn't buy
no
anything.
well,
That's
I just
good.
had no like wait, what did I didn't even want to go to the store. There was nothing that I was at all interested in. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, there was only two things, but we'll talk because IAE is coming as well, or
it's
UE,
true.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you know what's funny about this ship? So there's a ship that is executive skin basically, and it says limited on the store as well. So apparently you can buy it only now, and that's it. Well, I find that kind of strange, really. Like again, it's one of those exclusive things that happen in beta, and I'm like, fucking, what the hell, man? Like, if you start playing a game on day of release and you buy yourself 400i and you can't buy this skin, and then you see someone, they're like, hey, where'd you get that? I want that. And they're like, well, like 27 years ago when the ship was released in beta, that's when I bought it for $11.
I don't know. Whatever. I think
I
honestly,
hate that.
I think a lot of this is gonna be moot as soon as like you can actually just color your own ship.
Okay,
Because let's be
whatever.
honest, like none of the ship skins that we've got right now are flashy enough that when people are able to
No,
color their own,
executive ones are, and advocacy ones. I think they're really
I
good.
guess. I don't know. But like
The
they're
only good
still just
skins.
solid colors with accents, which is something that they've said we're gonna be able to customize.
Let's see how it goes. Like, for example, the dark blue metallic one for 300i is fucking gorgeous.
There's a dark blue one?
Yeah. And
Huh.
it's
I
it's
don't know if
like
I've seen that one.
metallic as well. It's like really beautiful color.
Hmm.
Anyways, yeah. So with it, we also got Liberator, which we are going to talk about in our imagination station, and it's basically a small sized carrier for three ships and two ground vehicles, if I'm not wrong. Not straight to flyable like 400i. I don't see this coming out before Pyro, which means server meshing, because it's main the way it's explained, and there's a little something there hidden, by the way, which
It's
you are going to be
big. Like,
surprised. It's huge.
I
It's
don't know.
$500. Oh yeah, 400i 250. I am surprised by this price. Actually,
Me too.
220. war bond and 250 for Ingram for for already existing
Yeah,
credits. It surprised me, man. I expected like 300 ish.
I did too. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't think this is going up in price because I mean it's there, everything's functional. There's no um Liberator though. It's literally on the page. It's sold as a way to transfer your ships through the jump points, basically. So it has big jump drive and whatever. So I don't see this being a thing in game before server meshing, but you never know. Like with these things, you
I
never
just
know,
don't
right?
think I don't even think we'll see it then. I mean, it's a big ship. It takes them a long time to build these big ships, even though the geometry
Sure.
of it's like really basic.
Yeah, it's just
But
concept. But I I don't care about this ship at all. But I love it. I think it's great to have something like this in game. It just
yeah,
looks so
yeah, it's
bare
just
bones. I
yeah.
love it. We're gonna talk about
I
it
don't know.
later
I'm
though, but yeah.
yeah, sure. Yeah.
Apart from that, if you check the store now during the time of this recording, you can see there's 4 different metallic green skins for Halloween event. They're all uh,
Drake.
Drake, so fuck me. Uh, Last year, I think we had Cutty Black and Dragonfly, or just Cutty Black. But this year we have Cutty Black, Buccaneer, Caterpillar, and Dragonfly. I'm gonna say Dragonfly looks really good with this green skin.
Yeah.
And I actually have Dragonfly that I got for free. I don't think I'm gonna use it. I'm a fan of Nox, and especially now that I can't park it on my 400i. But man, I like that skin. I'm not gonna get it. I don't care. Okay, now this concludes everything that happened during and around Citizencon. There,
Ballpark anyways.
there was
Summary.
one thing that happened as well, which is PTR was released during the
You.
PTU. Sorry, PTU was released during CitizenCon, like in the middle of it. We both agree that it's kind of a dumb thing to do, but whatever, they tried, I guess. Way one. So yeah. Now, couple days after CitizenCon, like this is okay. So if they said Maso, if they what we're going to talk about next, if they said this during CitizenCon, which by the way, if you watch some of our previous episodes, you'll see we literally announced this to happen during CitizenCon. If they said this during CitizenCon, I would say it was a great CitizenCon.
Well, I would have just, I mean, it would have been a highlight, that's for sure. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say it's a great Citizen Con, but yeah.
So why the fuck did they not do it? I just don't fucking get it. Like, what the fuck? So, couple of days after CitizenCon, we get the post that basically says, okay, we heard you. We heard you like the trading fixes, whatever, and we're glad to announce that we basically have made a patch, kind of like not a real fix, like not
Yeah.
right, but
Temporary fix.
temporary fix for 30K. So for those of you who don't know, and the way they actually threw this out, a lot of people I talk to don't even know about this.
Yeah.
From 315 on, and it's rolled already on PTU. If you 30K, which is a server crash, your ship, upon spawning it on the terminal, it will have everything inside that it had before the server crash. So that includes inventory and cargo, I think damage state, everything you had on. So let's say you were hauling some cargo, and yeah, it server crashes, and you go to the you know terminal, you spawn it, everything's there. Now I think this is huge, but again, this is basically our topic
I think we
later
should
on.
just roll right into it personally. I mean, the next item on our news list was medical and inventory, but let's be honest, we've been hearing about medical and inventory for months now. Everybody knows that medical gameplay is happening in 315 and inventory is in. What do you think?
Okay, sure.
Did you have something specific that you wanted
Yeah, I wanted
to?
to mention Myers' story, but
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah.
we don't have to. But it's gonna be quick. So we're gonna
Sure.
roll back to 30K protection because that's our topic basically. But before that, so another thing that is really big news in 315 is they actually rolled personal inventory system, which I don't want to talk about much. Basically, there's backpacks and all. You have like kind of standard MMO inventory. Reminds me of Tarkov a lot, and you can pick up things from other like corpses or whatever. That's cool. Medical though, there's you can be a medic now. So basically, you revive people. You can fix them in a way, and you can overfix them, which we'll see how that goes out because you can literally. So there's overdosing. Basically, you get this little
Yeah.
like med gun, and you can like heal people with it. But if you overdose them, they suffer consequences. So there's been a lot of crazy shit happening, and
Yeah.
and the worst part
There's
is
gonna
like,
be a there's gonna be a lot of trolling with the
yeah,
with the
because
medical gun.
medical gun is not subject to armistice zone, so now you can literally
Yeah.
fuck people up on a whim wherever
So
you go.
but I will say, and again, like take this with a grain of salt because this could be wrong, but I heard that that you have to be careful because somebody can choose to charge you if they overdose you, meaning that you can end up with a crime stat
I think that's a
if
hot
you
fix or something because I've seen people do
maybe,
crazy
yeah.
shit. And then if you're
Yeah,
like,
I could be wrong,
you know what's
but
the
I
thing? If
yeah.
you're, let's say you're cutlet or noodle, you want crime stat, and you go and like,
Yeah.
I don't care. It's funny. I know a
There's
lot of
gonna be a
people will
ton.
lose their
Oh,
shit
yeah.
with this, but I
Oh,
think it's
whatever.
fucking funny.
Yeah.
So before we started this, I watched Meyer. If you don't know who Meyer is a content creator, Star Citizen mostly. He's also a voice actor, super cool and nice guy. And he just started his stream like an hour before our recording our podcast, and I was watching him, and he went to do a new bunker mission, which is also new now because you have like friendly guys that will probably kill you or whatever. There's a whole thing about that. We can talk about it some other time. And if you are downed, basically, because of the medical gameplay, you can now set up a beacon for someone to come and fix you. And he did. And you get an hour and I think 15 minutes. No, it's like 65 minutes or something, like timer.
Yeah.
In a down state where you can't do anything. Your eyes are like everything's black and white. Your eyes are more closed than open, like but you can F4, so you can see like third person just regularly, like nothing happened. And you can use chat, which is I think really important to
Yeah.
communicate with people. So what happens is you post a beacon, someone can pick it up, and they get paid 10,000, and it's not from your pockets. Unless, like, at least in PTU, this is subject to change, obviously. So someone picked up Myers. It's just like a story from the worst, which was funny for me to watch. Someone picked up Myers' beacon, and 3 minutes later, he could hear the gunfire from the turrets firing at some ship, and he was like, "Oh, that's them, probably." I mean. So then 15 minutes later, this guy shows up, kills all the remaining NPCs. 15 minutes after he basically came there. It's kind of fucked up, man. You see like NPCs actually like, because Meyer was down and 4 NPCs came to him with guns pointing at him, but they did not kill him, but they're like there staring at him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when this guy came, one by one, they left Meyer and they went to like fight this new guy.
Oh.
So Meyer was using VoIP with his like RP voice to tell this guy, "They're coming. The big guy is still above me, motherfucker." Like whatever. Be careful. So this guy clears the room, comes to Meyer, heals him up, and Meyer, being Meyer, like slightly role playing, but also making this guy's day. Probably. I mean, it's a new gameplay, and he's giving him the whole loop. Meyer asked him to take him to Fort Tressler, to the hospital, even though Meyer had his ship there, but whatever. So this guy takes him to the hospital there on one of the Microtech moons. I'm not sure which one. It was very windy. So they get out and the wind just like swipes both of them for like 10 meters away, whatever. And Meyer's like drugged and injured and whatnot. It's great. And he's following this guy. And at one point he asks him, "Where's the ship, man?" Like, because you can't see the ship anywhere in sight, you know. And
Yeah.
it's PTU, so you expect someone to come with like Carrick or something. And
Yeah.
Carrick, like, or Red is really good because if you die trying to rescue this person, you can still respawn and run in and do it again. So this guy tells him it's 1,300 meters away,
Jesus.
which is so far.
Why did he park so far away?
I think he was scared because of the turrets. And then Meyer and him like go over the mountains and whatnot, and then they find his 120. They were swiped by the wind 3 more times or whatever, and they
No
find
wonder it took him
his
15 minutes to get there.
dude. It's far, right? And the
Yeah.
wind, and there it is, 125 origin, smallest ever ship. And Meyer says, "I've I've never seen a character this small." To which someone in his chat says, "You motherfucker, he went through all this to save you, and you're laughing at his character." And Myers like, "Wouldn't you?" Like, whatever. Like, but it was really good. And Myers sits on the bench. You know, this guy fires it up, and they go to Tressler. It was actually very entertaining to watch, man. I mean, part of it is just Meyer being a really good, entertaining content creator, but also it's interesting. Like, if you have something to lose, yeah, you can wait for a couple of minutes. Someone gets
Yeah.
paid for their troubles. I see a
Yeah.
lot of flaws potentially with this, but it's tier 0. And I think a lot of people will actually go and play medical gameplay in 315. So you have
Yeah,
uh,
if there's a 10K reward, I mean,
yeah, and you don't need anything for it, right? Like, you just need someone to
yeah,
to
medical
die,
gun
which
essentially.
is not very difficult in Star Citizen right now. Would be to a bug or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, we are, unless you have something to add, which I don't think so, we can move on to our topic, which conveniently is the
About the 30K protection.
30K protection. Yeah. So to just ease us into this, obviously we're going to talk about how this tech works and all that, you know what, but here's what was in our minds when we brought this up. Everyone is now mind blown about this idea of not having 30Ks anymore. Me
Well, I mean, you'll
first.
still have the 30Ks,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. But not losing,
everything.
everything on your ship, because 30K still, even before, like, you would still, persistence of your character was still there, right? So you would have whatever you have on you. This is why we were using big suits with a lot of
Yeah.
space. If you're sorry, if you're what's the name, gray cat, whatever thing, mining on the planet, you can put it in your backpack so that you don't have to worry about 30K and whatnot. But now you are protected definitely by the, even your ship is protected from it. However, at first I was mind blown fully, and this will come out negative, but mind you, I really am super happy about this. I think it's huge news, but I think we are all overhyped, or most of us are overhyped about this, and I think we don't realize
Yeah.
that it's not really that big of a deal.
Well, okay, no. I'll say it is a big deal, but I think people are taking this as like the thing that finally is going to turn Star Citizen around, and yeah, I do think
I
that
feel for
I think
some,
you're right in saying that people are putting too much onto this, but
me included, by the
uh,
way.
yeah, I mean, but I think this was pretty much essential, honestly, because when we first talked about them putting in persistent inventory or personal inventory and stuff, physicalized inventory, etc., like one of the primary complaints we both had was that the game is so buggy that frequently you're losing your ship from it to a disconnect or something, and when you're coupling inventory loss with that disconnect, all of a
Only worse.
sudden, like that's potentially game breaking, you know um so I feel like they kind of had to do something like this with the inventory coming in, or the game would have just been punishing to a point where like it's not frustrating out of difficulty, it's just frustrating to
Yeah.
play, you know?
You know
So
what I
so it
think? Now, when we talk
mm,
about this, I think they had inventory system flashed out and they could not push it until they made this patch for
what do you
30K.
mean?
I think they're
Like,
kind of
couldn't from a
not.
technical perspective or realized that it was just basically going to completely wreck
Yeah,
the game
that.
for a lot of people?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I think so too.
They
Actually,
they don't sell it like that, but I
he
wish
might
they
have even
did. But
said that in the original tweet. We'd have to go look for the original tweet.
no,
But
because
I
they released this. They released inventory first and made it look like, oh, okay, here's this as well. No big deal. Also not on Citizencon.
yeah, but,
But in
like,
reality, I
obviously
think that was time gating the inventory.
oh. Oh, so you think that basically they probably could have put physicalized inventory in, like, say, 3.14, but they
Yeah,
realized that they
at some
would have
point.
had to have a fix? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
possible. That's possible. Because I mean, physicalized inventory originally was supposed to be in
long
3.14.
ago. Yeah. Well, not
Yeah,
that
I
long
suppose
ago.
long
Okay,
ago,
yeah.
but yeah, it was supposed to be in 3.14. So, yeah, that's possible too. But the other thing that I think a lot of people aren't considering is that a 30K is still going to fuck your game up
So much.
because
Even
you're
more
gonna
now than before.
rejoin, you're gonna rejoin, and you're gonna have lost all your mission progress. Um, so like you get your ship back.
This will
Um,
really affect mostly traders because they don't care, right?
yeah. Well, and it'll take the sting out of a 30K if you had like inventory stowed on your ship at all.
I mean,
Um,
technically, now a lot of ships have, you can, like, for example, 300, 400 die, you have like nice weapon rack. You can collect inventory of the NPCs that you
yeah.
loot. You can put
But
there, you can put
obviously,
the
like
armor in,
without this tech, if you'd have 30K'd it and your ship was
everything's
out
gone. Yeah.
there, you have to claim it. Everything's gone. Yeah.
But
Um,
if you know what, if they made it so that they save the ship location and you just spawned in the bed of your ship, that would be it.
that would be beautiful. But
That'd be it.
again, like this was like a hack. This was more of a hack than a like like a permanent fix, right? So the permanent fix that you're talking about there is like how they envision things happening when they have the replication layer
Yeah.
um in place.
So,
Um,
what's the most annoying thing in Star Citizen for you? The first thing that crosses your mind.
well, this isn't really related to what we're talking about, but right now it's desync because it just makes so much of the game unplayable.
What's the next most annoying thing? We talked about this. I know your answer. You're just not finding it. But
I like
it's
because I'm not
running
really
to
sure
the
what you're after here.
elevator,
Oh
using the
yeah, yeah,
elevator, the whole
yeah.
loop of waking
Right.
up in a hotel room.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
unfortunately, this is not saving us from that. And
No.
now it's
No.
even worse because we have two of these situations. So one is 30K and you wake up in your room, right? The other one is you dying and waking up in the fucking hospital in a
In the
gown and
hospital.
you have to
Yeah.
go and get all your gear, buy your gear again,
Yeah.
dress up, fill your inventory, fill your ship's inventory, and the whole fucking shebang. And yeah, I mean, again, this is huge, but I think a lot of people will jump in and play because of this. And
Yeah.
after like 2 or 3 30Ks, you're gonna be like, oh fuck this. If
Yeah.
30K were kicking you out of the game already, unless you're a trader. If you're a trader, like it changes everything, right?
Oh, it's game changer for trading because now all of a sudden, like you're not risking millions of credits to a random server
Yeah,
disconnect,
on
you
RNG.
know.
However,
Um
we still have client crashes, and it happens that that does not save your ship. It should, but it's
it
happened
should.
and it doesn't.
No, it should. But I mean,
Then random
yeah.
ship explosions will happen again. I've seen many people
Yeah. Yeah.
jumping through the planets. Now you can
Yeah.
have some, this is also in your hands, right? You can always jump away from the planet and then couple OMs, and then you can plot
Yeah.
your route better, smarter.
You can work around that,
Avoid, yeah,
yeah, for the most
exactly.
part. Except for when you randomly, like, jump into an asteroid and then explode, which still
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah. No, and I think that's it, right? Like, this is a good thing, but I think, and it will just overall it's a quality of life fix that I'm just kind of like, "Oh, why hasn't this been in sooner?" You know? But,
Mm.
yeah, I think you're right in saying that I think people are maybe putting too much weight on this. It's still gonna be a Band-Aid fix. It's going to really help take the sting out of things, but it's still a Band-Aid, you know?
Yeah, I think
We
and they even they underline this. They're like, this is exactly, like, this is not the permanent fix, right? Or how did they word it? Like,
I can't remember, I'd have to go back
but
and look at
anyways,
the
like, this is not
original
the
tweet.
solution. This is just just a patch for the problem right now.
Yeah.
That's it,
Yeah.
right? So don't expect, this is not how the game will work later. And I think they're stating this and not taking it as a victory because, yeah, they don't have a tech to and that's gonna be a game changer big time, actually. Like, when you are able to log back, like, I have this, it's almost like a PTSD when I play other games and my game crashes or
Oh,
something,
yeah,
or power
yeah,
runs out, and I'm like, fuck, I have to do everything again. And then I
yeah,
log back into the game exactly where I was. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not playing Star Citizen. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
crazy. It's like, yeah, it's sick. So when they fix that, that's that and server population, and then you have your, like, kind of MMO gameplay in a way, like, everything else is just like building on top of this. Then it's a good foundation, I guess.
yeah. Okay, so their wording specifically is, "It's important to note that this is merely a simple
Yeah,
interim fix.
yeah.
Long term, this will be handled by the entity graph and server meshing, where we'll track shard history, which will allow us to properly retain information and restore you directly to the moment you left off, mid-quantum flight, etc. Nonetheless, while this is a temporary solution, it should be effective and reliable." That, I think, is the other thing, that I think I said this before we went live. I think we should all brace ourselves for the possibility that this doesn't work 100% of the times, similar to how crash recovery doesn't work
Not only
100% of
that,
the
when
time.
they say this should be reliable, it's like they say NPCs should not stand on the chairs anymore.
Yeah.
Remember, it
So it's
was
like,
patched
again,
into a patch into, and they gave up on it. Like, it's
yeah.
T-posing, it's fine, whatever.
So again, yes, this is a good thing. We are overall happy about this, but yeah, temper expectations a little bit. It's
Listen,
not going to be. It's a band-aid solution,
I
but
think
yeah,
it might just work properly, actually.
it might. I hope
Yeah,
so, but yeah,
I think they wouldn't come out with this. I think it would be like you remember, dude? I told you. You remember? Like, this was happening to me already. This was in game already. They were testing this.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You
I would
said
get
there's a
30K,
couple.
and I would just sit in the server forever, and then it would just recover after like 20 minutes, a couple of times, and sometimes it would just crash still. So I think that's like them, like, playing it, trying to find the right solution. And I wish they found it like that, because who wouldn't sit 10-15 minutes until server recovers and then continue exactly where they were instead of, like,
Yeah,
relogging? That would be fucking great.
my guess would be like that. If they were testing something like that, it's possible that it just wasn't reliable enough to
Yeah,
really roll
exactly.
out, you know what I mean? So,
Which
like,
is why I think,
sometimes they could get a server to come back
yeah,
to right where it was, but, but a
I
lot
feel
of
like they would
times it
play
didn't.
with fire too much if they announce something like this, and then people go into the game and there's a potential like, because if there's a chance for 30K, then this means nothing. Like, if there's only a chance for you to recover, it's RNG again. Like, it's the same shit.
Yeah,
You have a little bit
but sure, sure,
slightly
sure, sure, but
better chance, but
but at the same time, like, if I'm cargo trading anyways, I'll take any sort of
I
like increase or
I will
decrease
not.
in risk.
I will not, because this is the reason why I'm not cargo trading. Like 30K is
Oh,
the
yeah.
reason I'm not cargo trading. So if I
Yeah, but
have
I'm crazy
less
then, I
of a
guess.
chance, well, yeah, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like it's not like that for everyone. I'm playing devil's advocate here. Of course, I
Yeah.
did a lot of cargo trading. That's how I have all the fucking ships in game. But I mean, all the ships that I have in game. I don't have all
Yeah,
of
yeah,
them,
yeah.
obviously. But yeah, if I'm like not playing cargo trading because of 30K, if this is just a chance, then I don't think I'm playing again. And I don't think
I
they would say it
probably
like
will.
that. I think, dude, I will as well. But
What it definitely would not convince me to do if it were unreliable would be put stuff in my inventory on my ship. Like if I knew that something I put on the ship might stay, but it also might not, I'd be like, "Pff, fine. I'm just not gonna put, I'm just gonna not gonna put stuff on the ship then.
oh, is it like
But
other stuff
cargo,
than
I'm already
cargo?
used to rolling the dice with cargo, so
I know, but yeah.
like I'm gonna play that because I enjoy space trucking, and now I just have a little bit better of a safety net. But again, who knows? It might work
We'll
flawlessly.
see. I mean, it's already
Yeah.
on PTU. Obviously, PTUs are not as they're fleshing it out. They're definitely not
Yeah.
fleshing it out, but they're making it better.
So this does kind of move into the next portion of this
Yeah.
topic, I guess, which is does
If
this
I,
show
I
okay,
just want to give credit to Salty Mike for this, because I've heard him talk about this as well, and
about which?
the one that you just highlighted.
Oh,
So
okay.
he was asking someone in this Wednesday's answer the call if this means that they are now more open to making changes for the current gameplay rather than, you know, sort of like skipping and patching stuff instead of waiting for the actual solution, which will take forever.
I mean, yes, but like it's not like this hasn't been it's not like we also haven't heard that before, right? Like they've said, oh, in fact, I think they said it a bunch in the 2019 Citizencon that their focus for the next, for their patch releases over the next year is going to be like much more focused on quality of life and current gameplay. The thing is that just didn't ever seem to happen. you know,
Yeah, I don't even know
like
about this because this happened
yeah,
before
I
I
mean
joined, but
we have heard them talk about like how they want to focus a lot more on quality of life and current gameplay. It just
still it
they
never
they
happened, right?
they
It
never,
never
yeah,
happened. I
exactly.
don't think,
So now
maybe
we're actually starting to see this
persistence.
happen.
Do you think the
Yeah,
persistence that we have
persistence.
now is like kind of patch as well? Like,
Yeah,
kind of a quick fix.
100%. You're right, 100%.
Mm.
That's an example, I guess. And we did see a couple quality of life improvements, like the new party system. Like were you around for the way it was before we had the current group system?
I'm
I don't know if
almost
you were.
always playing alone that I don't even know.
It was a mess. Like the friends list and invites and everything like that was a mess. It rarely worked. And then we got this like new group system and it was just a lot better, a lot more reliable, a lot easier.
One thing
Um,
that I want to say that they should really try and do in this same manner is divide NPC contacts from friend list,
yeah,
so that when I'm trying to contact ATC, I don't have to go through like everyone I have on the fucking friend list. Now they made it a little bit better, where offline contacts are like in the back, right? So,
yeah.
but still, or they don't show up, but
Well,
online
one
contacts
hopes
are. And it's like,
even like okay, so now you have MFDs and stuff like that shifting to building blocks and stuff like that. I mean,
are they
I one
already building blocks?
MFDs aren't.
Oh,
No,
really?
your Mobiglass is, but I'm pretty sure the MFDs are still Flash based. But I would hope that it would be, stuff like that would come kind of like when things are fully migrated over. But who knows? You're right. Like there's still a lot of quality of life to do, but like maybe you're right. Maybe this is like our first kind of like or one of our or at least our most recent example of actually trying to shift more towards the game the way it is now. And I think honestly like it does eh, I think if that is the case, then then maybe they finally have realized that like, like the game they need to do something because the state of the game has deteriorated so substantially over the last, what, year and
I
a
would say
half?
even more. I think since persistence became a thing, from then on, we did not get anything that improves the experience unless you think maybe prison is something that improves it. But like nothing really that improves the I'm like I'm not
Yeah.
saying they didn't do anything.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm saying the current gameplay experience is deteriorating since persistence, which is
Yeah,
2 years basically, almost,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And it's painful, man. Like again, people who are brand new, they have their window of joy and happiness because it's mind blowing how detailed some things in Star
Oh,
Citizen
yeah,
are.
yeah, for sure.
But
You definitely get that honeymoon
yeah,
period,
yeah,
but
exactly. But then once it gets very repetitively annoying, and I don't think we had like barely any. I'm trying to think, man, off the top of my head. Like there were, I don't really think we had any quality of I guess reputation system you could say, but
is that really quality of
it's
life? I don't
it's
know.
I mean visually appealing maybe, but it's really not like useful. That like it's another thing that we just
Yeah.
apparently like I did not test this. Neither of us. I said test this. Neither of us are playing PTU. Uh, think since I started playing, you never played PTU, and I don't. I never did
I
either.
I played PTU once, and I can't remember why. It might have just been so I could go walk around in a Mercury
Oh,
Star Runner,
maybe
I'm
yeah.
not sure.
But
Oh, no, no, it was for the new flight mechanics and combat mechanics.
oh yeah, you did. I remember you talking about.
I did a little bit of PTU in there just because I genuinely wanted to know what that was gonna be like, you
No,
know?
that's actually a good reason to
But, like,
go.
you know what? Like, it would kinda make sense if this was, like, the start of, like, a true shift in strategy towards legitimately focusing on
Yeah,
quality of life because, like, prior to this, before CitizenCon, one of the last
I mean inventory
ISCs we
is as
had.
well, right? If you think
Sure,
about it,
sure. Yeah, yeah. It's just added I would consider that more adding to
it's
gameplay,
not
I
done,
guess?
right?
I
It's
don't
not
know.
done. It's implemented, but
No.
this inventory, if you look at it, like it's really not, and it's so buggy. Like, holy shit! Like it's really
Yeah.
not good. It's a great idea, and but in reality,
Yeah.
it's still really not there. So, I
But where I was going with this specifically, though, was, like, we did actually the last it was maybe the ISC, I can't remember which one it was. The one with Richard Towler where he said, like, that, they're gonna start changing the way that they're putting features into the PU because they want them to be focused and coming out with actual gameplay that uses them instead of, for example, like the trolley, which came out and wasn't used for anything, the
yeah.
mounted guns, which came out and weren't
Oh,
used for
trolley was
anything.
used for many
Um,
things
oh yeah,
to
sure,
destroy ships, for
blowing up
example.
ships,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's used.
But so but like that in and of itself is like indicates a shift towards kind of like focusing on the gameplay of the current kind of like iteration of Star Citizen. So, I mean, you have one of their prime like gameplay, you know, leads or whatever saying that they're shifting towards that, and then they follow that up with a, 30K protection. And yeah, I mean, maybe I maybe, like maybe this is like something where they're really genuinely trying to focus on the game as it is right now and ensuring that it's as playable and enjoyable as possible. A game as opposed to an alpha project, you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
I am. Thanks to
I
Star
hope that.
Citizen, for those who don't know, I have made a decision to never play an early access, beta,
Yeah.
alpha, whatever
Yeah.
game ever in my life. And
Yeah.
first game that suffered from that for me, which is a game that I would really enjoy 100%, was Valheim. And
Yeah.
now there are
Yeah.
some other games. Like I was waiting until there was some racing game. Never mind. I just bought it finally 2 days ago because it came out from early access, and I'm so happy to play it. But I feel huge disadvantage from those who played it during the early access and whatnot, right? But
Right.
but even with that mindset, I'm still within Star Citizen, right? Heavily involved in a way,
Yeah.
and I really feel like we need so little that will happen, God knows when, right? But so little to actually be able to play this game for long hours on
Yeah,
daily basis.
to actually call it a game. Like, that's kind of exactly where I was going with this
You can call
actually.
it a game. I'm not calling it a game until it's released, but sure.
Well, okay, but like, but this has always been kind of something that we've ragged on CIG about, is their seeming inability to make up their minds as to whether or not this is an alpha or a live service game, or
Yeah.
maybe if you're not being charitable, it's not an inability to make that up. It's just they drag whichever one
Yeah, they're
out is
just
convenient.
juggling with this.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you know,
it's good for them, anyway that it suits them
totally. Like
situationally.
we've talked about that on multiple
Gross,
episodes and how
disgusting.
frustrating
Yeah.
it is to have them basically say, "Oh, though it's an alpha," whenever it's something that's wrong, and then whenever they want to do a marketing push, they say, "Oh, well, it's a live service game in development or whatever," right? But like, if this is indeed a shift in strategy, that's good. Like maybe that would indicate that they are kind of like taking this as a live service game and more more seriously than just than it being an alpha project where they just, well, like you wrote here, just like YOLO stuff into the YOLO features into the game, and
Yeah.
then and then just go back and fix it when they have their end game
It's done where
closer
it's done.
to yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Um,
So
what do you think? What? Like, I personally, I'll just give you briefly my thought of like what would I need for you know turning Star Citizen even now into my everyday uh, home game kind of again.
mhm.
So this 30K protection, if it was like the actual 30K protection, so it doesn't have to be like perfect and bring me back to where I was, but like I wake up on my ship instead of the station. Like that's one thing, I guess. And a reason to play. Like that's one thing that we really don't have, right? So if these
Yeah,
like if you had uh uh what's a reputation system working for every game loop that we have. So bounty hunting that we have already, it's not perfect, but it's there, you can feel the progression. Then delivery missions, cargo, and mining as well. Because mining, you don't get anything out of it. And like there's things that I would like let's say more game loops, like salvaging or something like that. Medical is now kind of in and all that, but you know what? With that, yeah, I mean, I could see myself like playing fully again. It's so close.
I think the thing for me is, and I think you're right. Like there's a lot of it that's there. That I think the main problem is that, for me, a lot of the game still feels disjointed, and it's this is something I actually thought about a lot when I was playing Valheim, actually, because the game mechanics aren't super
No,
complex,
they're very simple.
but things play off of each other, right? Like the
It's like
combat isn't super complex, the resource harvesting isn't super complex, the tech tree isn't super complex, but it all just kind of plugs into each other and gives you a little bit of like an actual loop part,
yeah.
the loop part of the
If you
game
think
loop. You
about
know
it,
what I
New,
mean?
New World works like that. Like combat, you have 3 skills per weapon, right? It's like,
Yeah,
and then you go and chop trees. The higher level of the of the axe, the faster you chop. Like
yeah, yeah.
simple things, but it
But you know
leads
that when you're
into a
getting
full
that
game loop. That
tree,
yeah, yeah,
exactly, when you're getting that tree, you're gonna bring it back and you're gonna use it for this, or,
or sell it,
and
or whatever.
or sell it,
There's
and
something to it.
that's exactly, yeah, and so that's what I've decided that I've really who was it who I
So
was listening
so you know
to the
what?
other day?
Selling things also. I need that.
Yes.
Selling
Yeah,
things and
yeah.
selling
You have to have
ships.
selling.
And the ability to sell cargo off someone else's ship with permission or ship being
If you stole it.
stolen. Exactly.
Yep.
But these are like tiny things. I think we're not developers. Like maybe I'm
Yeah.
armchair. But what I'm saying is,
Well,
it's
we're
not like
definitely armchair
mind
developing.
blowing. No, no, I know. Like I don't know if
Yeah.
these are probably very big technical hurdles, right? I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's not like 17 planets and I don't know, like
Yeah.
three
Yeah.
more game loops, or it's like a little bit that we're lacking in terms of gameplay
Yeah.
to be able to really enjoy it on another level. On the first level of an MMO experience, let's say.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
even I don't even
Exactly.
think we need like more people per server. We do, don't get me wrong. but
Honestly, I
but
get
it's
I get what
playable,
you're saying there. Yeah, yeah, and that's why, like, when I constantly hear people saying, like, "Oh, salvage, can't wait till salvage is in," and I'm just like, you're like, I get it, but like, but new professions aren't going to make the game
No.
more interesting. Like, you need that. I wish I could remember exactly how it was said. I think it was on an ATC, but and it might have been Morphologis when he was on a couple ATCs ago. He basically said like he needs something to make him feel like he's living a little bit more in the universe.
Yeah.
Actually, it might have been on an ATC.
There's a
I don't
lot of
remember.
this is so
You
good.
know?
There's a lot of disconnects
Yeah,
from that like basic immersion with your game, right?
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Like like you still don't really feel like you're living in a universe because there are those little disconnects that
Yeah.
just kind of prevent you from feeling like it's something. And like I said, I mean, like look at Valheim for example. Valheim doesn't really have any professions besides like mining and like farming and I guess like
Yeah.
hunting slash gathering, you know,
Well,
and
it
they're
has to
all
have
really
boss.
basic.
It has like events with like
Yeah,
killing
but those,
bosses and
like,
whatnot.
honestly, like, I mean, I don't
They
know about for
exist.
everybody else, but for me,
Yeah,
I
I know. You're not
that's not
playing
why I
for
play
that.
the game.
I know.
Yeah,
But it
you know?
does exist. It makes the world more complete. But I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Sure,
you don't need
but
that
it
necessarily.
yeah, exactly, like, if the bosses weren't there, I wouldn't even care, really. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
it's about
It's like old Eve
there
Online,
are
man. Like where you didn't have any events, you
yeah, but it's just
but
like the things
the
plug
loops
into
were
each other,
there.
these
Yeah.
exactly, like, these relatively basic systems all plug into each other and make it
Mm.
feel. Yeah, so, like, anyways, I don't know, it's hard to explain, and I apologize for anybody listening to this,
I think a lot of people will
but
actually connect with what you're saying because don't forget, like people who watch our I would as assume that we're not our target audience is not really brand new player or someone who doesn't play the game, right? So I think a lot
no,
of people
yeah.
can relate to what you're saying, and it makes sense actually when you are playing the game. I apologize to those who are new. I'm not trying to shoo you
I
away,
think
but yeah, I'm just saying, like in general.
yeah, I think you're right too, like, selling is a big part of making a universe feel like just so that the economy actually feels like there's a loop to the
Yeah,
economy, and that's why I just laughed so hard whenever we had some gameplay developer come on, like, SCL or ISC and, like, go like, "Oh, well, we don't wanna ruin the economy." I'm just like, "What economy? There is no economy." Like, there's no loop, right? Like,
physical as
so
components as well. At some point, that you can sell to another player, as in like player market would become a thing probably.
yeah.
Fallout 76 has small servers. It's like I don't remember, but like 20 people per server or something like that. But it is an MMO, and then what you would do is like if you find a weapon, you have your own little store in your house that people can come and buy. But also, people would go and trade on forums. So they would go to like third party forum and they say, I have this X, right, with vampirism, whatever. I don't know, but and then someone would join their group and join the same server, and then this person will sell you the X for currency or trade for something else, right? So right now in game, which I think is huge, by the way, we have two weapons that you can find
Oh, yeah.
only in loot boxes, right?
Yeah.
So if you could find a ship as well, let's say we have a javelin lying around, right? So that could have potentially components or something like that, like derelict ships. No, not forget about javelin because what you're gonna do with that. But like there's derelict Andromeda, and maybe it has aftermarket, part
Yeah.
that you can take and sell to someone else, or just
Well,
sell
I
to
mean,
a
it's
trader.
easy enough, like, insofar as, like, for example, like, there's military class components in the game,
Yeah, they
Just make
already
it so
have a
you
price,
can't
so you can
buy
sell it.
military
Hey,
components
yeah,
at a
you're right.
store.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Boom, like, all of a sudden,
Stuff
now
that
there's a
already
market
exists.
for those military components, and if the components are, like, wearing out and breaking and you can't
Mm.
necessarily easily replace them, now all of a sudden, like, there's that attrition in there as well, so it's like, "Ah, shit, my military shield generator just broke. I need to go either A, find another one,
Or buy it off of
or,
someone else,
or
right?
buy it off of somebody else who's selling one," you know?
So this sounds like imagination station, but it's not. And what I'm saying, it's I mean, we are imagining a little, but this shows you like how little of a gameplay
Yep.
would it
Yeah.
need to make this a more wholesome, like complete experience? Not wholesome,
Well,
complete experience, right?
especially that last thing we talked about, by just basically um removing military components from stores and
Or any
having it so
kind,
it's
right?
something that can,
Anything that you
you know,
can't
like
get, right?
like okay, there's some back end tech involved in basically being able to trade between players. Fair.
I'm
That's a
sure, like
blocker.
all of this that we're saying, I'm sure there's a reason we don't have it, and some of these might be massive like hurdles to get into the game, develop, whatever. I'm not trying to like diminish the difficulty of getting this into the game, but from the
Sure.
player perspective, it's not
Yeah,
something
well, I would counter that by saying we already can't, like, the tech already exists to transfer something between accounts because you can send people money.
you
That's
can't carry a component. That's the thing. Like the
No, no,
components
no. It
exist,
wouldn't be
but
it
they're not
wouldn't be
physicalized.
again, like, if they were gonna do something like this, it wouldn't be like a physicalized component. It would be probably done via a mobile glass app similar to sending money.
Oh,
It'd be like a trade app or something where you basically just, like, like,
here's a
drag the component up there, click trade or whatever, and it just goes to your home inventory or
okay,
something like that.
prediction time. All right, you have a jump drive in your personal inventory. Probably cannot carry, but whatever. Let's say you can in a backpack, whatever.
Could be if it's size 1. Those are pretty
And
small.
you go to, I go to your ship. Your ship has inventory, and I transfer this component into your ship's inventory, and then you can use it from your ship's inventory and install it into your ship or transfer it to your main spawn point inventory.
Yeah.
Now, this cannot be done in the game. It's tested already,
Yeah,
not for
you can
this
only
reason.
transport them in the,
Not only that.
slots,
So let's say
component
you and me
slots.
are in 400 die and it has like 10 SEU of inventory. I don't know that, like
Sure,
the
yeah.
not
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cargo, but the inventory space. So let's say two of us, you find an apple, right? You find an apple and you put it in my ship's inventory. I don't see it there. Only you can see it there. But this is the current tech limitation that we have in the game. I don't know if you knew that. You want me
I
to repeat
didn't
that?
actually. That last bit specifically,
So
but,
so
like, I
whatever
think I
you put
understood
in,
you,
like
but
let's say we clear the bunker and you bring like two guns, you put an armor, you put it in the ship's inventory. I don't see it.
oh,
I
interesting,
see only
okay.
what I dropped there, and you see only what you dropped there. Now, what we don't know yet, someone might know, but I don't, is is the ship's overall inventory size like diminishing when others are filling it with stuff? But like, I don't know if
Yeah,
everyone,
yeah.
because these are little things
Probably
that they have to like figure out. But
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, honestly, like I said, I haven't paid any attention to 315 PTU.
yeah,
You know,
I'm the one
I'll just
watching all
have
the streams all the time.
yeah. Well, and I just like I said earlier, man, like, I just have had, up
No, I
until
know, I know,
recently,
I
I've
know.
had kind of no desire to even look,
Trust me,
but
it's
that
not
would be
even that.
something interesting to
I
test.
just
I'm
really
honestly
I just really love some people who stream Star Citizen, and
yeah,
I just really enjoy just talking to them. And yeah,
yeah. I'm a little bit bummed to hear that that is actually the issue, that, like, that you can't put
yeah,
something into a ship inventory and have somebody else take it. Like, that honestly kinda ruins the whole physical inventory thing for me, you know? Like, what is the point?
I'm
Unless
sure
it
they're
is
gonna fix it. It's that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
truth tier
Sure.
zero.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
telling you, once that's fixed, you can potentially put the component in, and there you go. You have player
Right.
trading.
Yeah. Yeah, sure, yeah, and, I mean, the money transferring is already there, so,
Now we just need to
and
find
then
the component in
again,
game.
like, even if you think that we're being armchair devs here, like you have to admit that like changing essentially like removing something from an inventory or a store's inventory, i.e., military components, that is any way you look at it, a relatively minor change because it doesn't involve any back-end tech. It's literally just, just changing the value of what components are available where.
Here's the thing,
And
though. I don't know if derelict ships are ships. I don't think they are.
not yeah, you're right. I don't think they are yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
if
something
they
that they're
turn
planning
derelict
on
ship
bringing in with
into a ship, then they can
salvage.
install a component in it, right?
Yeah.
I think again, armchair developing a little bit,
Yeah.
but like if yeah, that would make sense to me. And then in that case, you could potentially strip it, or maybe even fix it. That would be cool. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah. Well, that's another thing that I actually really like the idea of is just basically like when you're, digging through recs for different components, like there's nothing guaranteed that it's going to be fully functional either. Like it could be damaged and it could be damaged to a point where it will never operate at its full
Yeah.
capacity, but it'll still operate, sort of,
I just want to find
say
that
like
derelict
80% of the capacity.
derelict caterpillar, and then turn one of those like one part of the what's the name, cargo space into my little house, and then
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
my base, and then I fly around, gather materials, and I slowly build this caterpillar, and then I have it like done, and then
That's
I try
definitely
to
more
take
long term, but
off,
I would like that. Yeah,
and then I go and sell it and find a new house
totally. Yeah.
in my
Like
little
let
pickup nomad, like that's all I
yeah,
have,
like fully that's salvage gameplay right there.
Well, that's so
Like
many game loops though. There's
reclamation.
repair, right? There's yeah.
Oh
There's
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. I'm
much.
just saying like that's the end game. Like that's where I think like the real, that the
Exploration as well.
simple
You gotta find it. I guess
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Like, but this is
Potentially protect it against like people who also find it and want to salvage it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine you almost finish it and someone finds you and fucks you up, and they take that caterpillar.
Yeah.
But this, if you ask me, like this is probably my preferred, like that nomad style. You found the ship, you want to fix it, you live there while you're fixing it, whatever, and then you go and sell it, and then you
Yeah.
find a new home. And you're fixing now this Andromeda, whatever.
Yeah.
I'd love something
Yeah, I like that's yeah, like
in about
yeah,
70
that would be
years we're
really
gonna
cool.
have that. It's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly. Yeah. 4 or 5
Maybe.
years down the road, but yeah. I guess like on the like and I know that you hate RNG and stuff like that, but man, I got to say like
I don't
I
hate
think
RNG.
that
I don't hate RNG. I think every game needs healthy amount of RNG.
yeah, like that's kind of where I'm going with the components, right? Like if you're salvaging something, I kind of like the idea that like the salvage components you take out of there might have an RNG aspect to them where, they might not be
Absolutely. Yeah.
they might not be at the brand new factory stock,
Yep.
you know, and they might not ever be able to be that, but
No, I
but
dig
you
that.
got
Like,
them
yeah.
for free because you
Well,
just ripped them
otherwise you
out of
would
a
know
ship.
exactly, like, oh, that's a Constellation salvage. I know exactly how much money I'm making
Yeah.
there. Nah, that doesn't
I
feel.
would like that to be a thing too with your salvaged caterpillar. Like, okay, yeah, you bring that back, but like, you're not selling that for anywhere close to what a brand new caterpillar would would
Unless
sell
I'm a
for.
genius and I made it like work even better than you
Unless you
can.
made it like pristine.
Yeah.
Like it might as well have
No,
just
no, no.
just
I
rolled off the
installed
factory
like
floor.
fucking RPGs on it or whatever. Additional
Yeah.
cargo, whatever the fuck. I'm kidding, but yeah, no, no. That kind of RNG, I'm cool with. The reason Maso is saying this about RNG is because we talked about New World, and one
Oh
of the
yeah, yeah,
reasons that I
yeah.
don't like is even quests give RNG rewards, or someone can have like
Yeah,
an
well, and
epic
let's be
reward where
honest,
someone gets like green one, and
the
it's
the RNG in New World is particularly bad. Like,
everything is RNG. Like,
yeah.
anyways.
But like I would like for there to be a little bit of RNG
Oh
in
yeah,
the
you
in
need
the
if
items and
you're
armor
playing an
and
MMO, you need RNG in it. Like, what?
yeah, because otherwise, like, what's the point of looting anything, right? Like if it's all the same, you know?
Agreed. All right.
Yep.
You had one more thing to add to the topic.
Yeah, before we
And
roll
it's
away from
important. Like,
this,
yeah.
this is more of a public service announcement. There's been a lot of discussion on Twitter and other platforms about server meshing after the CitizenCon server meshing panel because the server meshing that we saw was sharded, and there was a lot of people who interpreted that as basically that they were giving up on a single universe shard, and server meshing was only ever going. Basically, we're going to end up with just instanced universes, um, and that is what they were talking about. But Chad McKinney, the like head network guy, responded in a tweet basically saying that while yes, that's how things are going to work initially, they're still trying for a they're still doing R&D towards basically making it a single kind of dynamic server mesh. Um but I don't know, like saying this, I also kind of have to say I think we feel a little bit vindicated by this because one of the topics that we talked about with in one of our previous episodes was that you know I think people should be tempering their expectations about what is actually possible with server meshing because as with any R&D project there's no guarantee that server meshing will end up like this. You know what I mean? Like they're still working towards that single shard, but we
What
don't
they're
know.
let's put it this way, like what they're describing right now as their idea of server meshing does not exist in any other game anywhere near.
So they have
And
definitely done some amazing things
yeah,
from a technical perspective, but while they aren't writing off the single shard universe entirely, like it's still an R&D project. So basically what I think I'm trying to say in this public service announcement is don't freak out. They're still trying for the single shard universe that they kind of pitched us all on when they first kind of rolled out their concept for the MMO. But yeah, it's going to be an R&D, so it's still kind of a maybe. I would say
you know
temper
what
your
I'm thinking?
expectations, but don't head for the doors right away because yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking so one of the reasons why this is scary a bit is we have ships that are supposed to have like hundreds of people on board, right? Um and then we are all, well, me personally not maybe, but like I still have that in the back of my head, but I know a lot of people are imagining these like massive eve like uh massive, fights with like two or three sides with bunch of like ships and whatnot. And if you think about it, it's gonna be like hundreds of people in one place
Yeah.
potentially fighting. So the scary part is if you can't have enough people per shard, and if these are like kind of like if everything's sharded, we can potentially have a battle, let's say with like 400 people, 200 per side, and one side comes to like PO where they're gonna fight, and the other side is on another shard, right? They don't see each other, which is scary to think in a game like Star Citizen. So
Yeah, well, it definitely would upend any sort of like ability for like real-time territorial control
yeah,
and like that. They might end up having to do, well, I think we
you know what
touched
I
on this a little.
think?
They
Worst
might
case
have to do
scenario.
something like a new world scenario where they basically, like you declare war for an area
Yeah,
and that war takes place
I
in a
think there's
separate
more
instance.
um, elegant solution. Now, mind it again, we're not developers, but this is something that's seen in other games. Where we know that servers, even the old World of Warcraft servers, were capable of having like 10,000 people or something like that. New World is running with 2,000 people at the moment per server. I don't know if you knew that, but that's the capacity of
I
servers,
didn't know the
which is
actual number. Yeah.
tiny, kind of. So
Doesn't
that
feel tiny in the game, but yeah.
no, but it's a small continent though, and
Yeah.
2,000 people at the time. So that's probably like 8,000 people approximately, because not everyone's playing at the same time or whatnot. Maybe six, whatever. So I think the elegant solution, like worst case scenario, probably is that instead of loading screens, basically. Jump points are basically, Stanton is one server. Pyro is an. I know they don't want this. This is not their idea, but like you can have, or you know what I mean?
Uh,
Because then you
I
can
do know
have
what you
like
mean.
6,000 people in Stanton. Okay, you don't have to shard them as much. You know what I mean?
Yes, but like they already kind of like have like from what they illustrated, they already have a better solution than that in my opinion because they could literally have it so that not only is Stanton might be the shard, but like they can have the different like planets kind of running on their own server clusters.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But
Um
then these are like the big shards, and but well, yeah, but that requires proper mesh. Like that's what I'm saying. If they fail with their server meshing tech, they could probably roll back to something more down to earth. You know, I
maybe.
mean,
Yeah.
I really don't think anyone in this world who is playing games would be bummed if wormhole is you know not really a loading screen because you're playing through it, but it's like another, like wormhole is in our server and then
Yeah.
next system is
Yeah.
in our server, and if the handshake is done seamlessly, right?
Yeah. Well,
Who,
that
no
is the
one would
intention
care about it,
essentially.
right?
Like that the jumping between systems is literally supposed to be kind of handing you off to, a different server. I don't know.
Okay.
I have to all I can say is that like right now, even with the static version of their server meshing, the like from a technological standpoint, to me it's pretty amazing. And if they can expand on that and have it so it's like dynamically spooling up different shards, handing you off between them without you even noticing, you know, um, allowing for those large ships by basically having just, so your javelin is a server, and it's running within a different server or talking with servers and kind of allow it. If they manage to pull that off, man,
No, if they manage to pull it off, it's gonna be
like that's
one
just
of a
unreal.
kind
Like,
revolutionary thing, and we all hope for that. Like I honestly,
yeah,
I'm not giving up on the idea that CAG can invent something new. I'm not.
yeah,
Right now, something like that does not exist. I
no,
see one of the things that could be potentially a problem. Like, let's say you have 100 ships fighting, right? Which is huge, right? Especially if every ship is man, how do you say that? Operated, right? So you have crews on all ships and everything. We have like windows, we have transparency, kind of. You can see
yeah,
people.
yeah.
I kind of think that they screwed up with that, like big time. Like, if you had tinted glass where you can't see what's behind it, then every ship can be a ship, right? But it's also like what you're saying, like a javelin is a server. But if I can zoom in through and see the bridge and see people walking around that bridge, that just sounds crazy to me from like tech perspective.
Okay, yeah, I agree. But if they managed to pull it off, that would be unreal. Like it would be so cool. But
Whatever they
if they
manage to pull
like,
off, man, this will fuck up performance of
well,
people playing the game,
that's
right?
that's kind of what I was going to say is like because like they've already talked about basically having it so that like past a certain distance you don't like it wouldn't even bother streaming that in, and when it does stream that in it's only streaming in what the person outside can see. But if they came back to me and said we we're gonna have to take this out because it's just too performance
I
heavy,
don't.
ugh, fine,
If I
like
board that ship, I want to see people inside. If I'm outside, I don't give
totally,
a
yeah,
shit. I want to see it maybe on
no,
my scanner or whatever, if that's the gameplay loop, right?
yeah,
But I don't care seeing fucking face of a captain and his VoIP moving
yeah.
around. And come on, man, like what
Yeah.
the fuck do we need
Yeah,
this
I
for?
would not be heartbroken at all if they
I don't
decided to
care.
get rid of that.
This is just Chris
Yeah.
Roberts crazy
But
shit
anyways,
happening.
that's all I kind of wanted to say there is like public service announcement. Chad McKinney kind of like has expanded on that. If you want to see it, I guess we can put the Twitter link in the
Yep.
video description. But yeah, he basically just kind of says, "Look, that wasn't what I said. Like we're still aiming for the original goal, but it's R&D, so yeah,
Just
that's it."
give us something, give us static version now, just like fucking 30K patch, and then work
Yeah,
on it.
yeah.
Uh, okay, that's topic done. We are going to Imagination Station, which will be all about the ship that is Masoka's new favorite ship, which is called the Liberator. He
I don't
bought
hate the
two of
ship.
these
I
already.
did not.
Do
And I think everybody who's upgrading their Hercules to these,
you
I
get
mean, you do what you
Hercules?
want.
Wait.
You,
Do you get
you
Hercules as a loaner for it? What do you add?
probably.
Let me see what you
I don't know if
because
they have
if
the loaner matrix out for it.
they do.
They
They
do?
have,
Okay.
yeah.
It would make sense.
Loaner matrix. I'll tell you right now. Liberator. You get M2 and F7C M Super Hornet for Liberator.
Yeah, okay.
So if you think you enjoy Liberator, potentially, I don't see a downside of upgrading it from Hercules. You know what I mean? Like you still get your Hercules. God knows when Liberator will come out.
Yes, but like personally, I mean, I don't know. I just see a lot of debate about it on various social media platforms, and I just think like one is not better than the other. They're two entirely different ships, and unless you are really, really sure that all you want is a ferry, then sure, get a Liberator. But like you are losing a ton of functionality by going to that ship over a Hercules.
There is one thing. I'm trying to find it. It comes with something. I don't know if you've seen that, but Liberator comes with something that we don't know what the fuck it is. And I think a lot of people are buying it for that reason.
What do you mean?
Uh, goddamn. I want to find it, but there's like an anvil like special suit or something. I saw that in Montoya's video. He actually brought that thing up and talked about it, and he's like, I don't know if that's something new or potentially um the Iron Man little suit or whatever. I'm gonna find it anyway. I should have prepared this before, but I forgot. And so the thing is that's included in the ship. God damn, I can't find it. No. Oh, maybe it's in the
Well,
store.
I don't know, man. Like anything you get, sure, fine. But like at the end of the day, the Liberator is a very, very focused ship. And if that's what you want, if you want a ferry, that's great. But like
Okay, let's
I
talk about
yeah,
Liberator. So
I just think it's a mistake personally to get out of your C2. Unless your C2 was something that you bought specifically to haul vehicles,
I
I think
mean,
it's a mistake to go to a Liberator.
here's the thing, Maso. I bought when I saw MSR. That was it. That's my ship. You remember? Like, oh man, I'm getting this. It's and then when I got the ship, I was like, I don't know. You know, now I have it, and I don't know. And then I went into like details and figured out that there are some things that I really hate about it. There's this thing where you're like, oh, M2, like that's what I want. And then you end up having it in your hands and you're like, because we do this, especially in Star Citizen, where we glorify the ships that we think we're going to enjoy, right? So
Yeah,
potentially there's a lot of people who thought M2 is everything they want and now they have it and it turns out it's not. And now they
sure.
see
A lot of this comes down to
Liberator.
personal preference, like I
Yeah, true.
said, and it depends on what your intentions were. If all you wanted to do was haul vehicles down onto a planet,
I
You know,
think this ship is
sure.
just so much more than that. Honestly,
How?
we'll talk about it. Let me
Okay.
read the description of it quickly. It's not very long. It's from the website. Anvil continues its tradition of excellence with the Liberator, an open air vehicle carrier that applies the tradition of long range transport to a smaller scale. Designed with the same quantum drive as a long distance designed with the same quantum drive and long distance capabilities of military spec carriers and pathfinders, but tailored to the civilian market. The Liberator puts your feet on the front lines of any operation. So they're selling. First of all, it's Anvil, right? So that
Yeah.
means that primarily, it's like military ship, right? Because that's what Anvil is.
Sure. They did say specifically that this was designed for the
Civilian, yeah,
civilian
I
market,
know,
though.
but still, it's Anvil. It's not Misk
Yeah.
or Origin or whatever,
They
right?
do tend to be like, yeah, they obviously have more of a military focus.
Yeah. Um. So the way I see Liberator, the original idea, I think, is in that jump drive. So you'll be able to carry ships from Stanton to Pyro in this, ships that potentially cannot be
Yeah.
carrying
Sure.
themselves, whatever, right? They don't have the range or whatever the fuck.
Hmm.
So I see this ship as something that you will use in military operations because you can bring like 10, 10 of these. That's 30 Hawks, for example, or F7s, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I can see it as entry level vehicle hauling ship, right?
Debatable. Oh, you mean like long term, right? Like because long distance? Because like I would say that they like if one of them was more entry level, I would say potentially for that specific role, the Herc is more
I'm
entry
talking about
level
like
than.
small size ships. So let's say I want my Hawk moved
Okay, well,
from
you said
from
vehicles, so I wasn't sure if you meant ground
sorry,
vehicles
yeah,
or.
ships and vehicles. It's kind of that's the thing, right? Like
Yeah.
you can definitely answer. There's this role in EVE Online where you disassemble your ship and then a hauler will take it from like nullsec to
Well,
highsec and vice versa, right? So you're
and that was gonna be my other point was that I don't know, like, if you're strictly hauling vehicles, I would say that the Hull series is probably more entry level than this too. The advantage, and this is something that they have touched on when they talked about using Hull series to haul ships around, is that they wouldn't be able to function like a carrier because the ships are, like you said, like not necessarily dismantled, but packed away for transport
wait,
when
but
they're going on to a Hull series. Um,
that's one thing, and the other thing is whole series when they're transporting shit cannot land on the planet. This can, right? So you can deliver this to anything,
directly to a planet. Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
right? Um, then it is a small base of operations for a small company that
Yeah.
is, for example, mining or doing, closing piracy breaches or whatever. Because the problem with this is that we only have two beds. Like this is the biggest shit thing of this ship for me. Like if you had one, two, three, four, five, seven, right? Seven beds and it's huge, man. This thing is huge, and the interior is actually fucking amazing. There's a breakdown of the entire interior that was shown during the sitcon, and there's so much. Like it's like the yeah, there's a lot.
Hmm.
So I don't see how they did not think of like there's like on the
The
port
passengers,
side.
basically, the
Yeah, you
people
can
that
sit
of
there,
the
but you
ships that they're
can't live
hauling.
there, right?
Yeah.
But I guess like most of the ships, like let's say you're I can
If you're hauling prospectors, for example, prospectors have a bed, but
exact and really good ones. Now I don't know
but
if prospectors can sit on the oh
I would imagine on the top, the prospectors are pretty small
yes.
ships.
But they're not as
Like,
short as for example Hawk or
sure, but
A7.
on the because there's 2 decks, right? Like,
Yeah,
there's
I'm
that
looking at it
under
right
deck,
now. Yeah.
and then there's that over deck,
So
and,
no, so there's two decks on top. Then there's like a garage door, and then there's one deck, one pad after it
okay.
before the gate. So at least one prospector. But I'm wondering you can probably fit two, maybe even three, right? And and then on top of that, so you can drop your prospectors above, or maybe like two prospectors in that small refinery, and then you have your inside you have your rocks, for example. So you go down to plant, you leave your rocks there, and then you have 400 SU of cargo, man. Like, so for mining, it's not that bad actually if you think about it, right? For a small operation, you can pick up
Sure.
from these prospectors, go to extra refinery, drop it there, come back, and then you can collect them all and go to the next system or whatever, right? I feel like this is such a bare bones vehicle, small
If you were
carrier that
utilizing it for that, like, really long distance, that actually is something that I hadn't considered. 1, because I hadn't read the brochure. I haven't even looked at it, to be honest. Um, but yeah, like saying that it has the same similar, like, long range capacities as a Pathfinder.
mm,
What Pathfinders do we know of that are out there that are around that size? The Carrack,
yep.
so that would allow you to basically get to really, really far out mining areas that you couldn't otherwise reach. That is kind of interesting.
Or salvage,
Um,
right?
or salvage, yeah,
Or even like a small military operation with three fighters on board.
yeah, yeah.
Or combination of all. It's literally it's a small
It is a pocket carrier.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like small base of operations. The only fucked up thing is the beds. I just don't get it. Like, it makes no sense
Okay.
to me.
Okay. You've convinced me insofar as, like, I will agree that there's more versatility to it than I originally assigned to it. So, like, again, like, if that's what your goal is, then sure, okay, I guess you're right. And like, you're upgrading from a C2. The C2 has its versatility insofar as it's like,
C2 is great, by
it
the way. I don't think
it
yeah.
is, sure, sure. I'm just saying that because I've seen a lot of people who are, like, humming and hawing about upgrading their C2 to a Liberator, and initially I was like, "Ugh," I mean, like, sure, if that's what you wanna do, but you're sacrificing the ability to, for example, haul cargo as well as vehicles and, be really effective in and out of atmosphere for something that is essentially a focused, delivery platform. But when you put it in when you put it like you did, where basically you're utilizing it as a platform for potentially a
Small operation
variety
of
of different,
yeah.
a variety of different operations. Yeah, okay, you don't have the cargo hauling capability that C2 does, but you're trading it off for versatility in other areas, like,
I can see 3, 4 friends having this and having different kind of fun each week, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think it'd be interesting too to see, like, they've done all this concept art, for example, and you were saying, like there's no, they didn't put any additional beds in there. I mean, it's still concept, right? So, I
True.
mean, I don't know. It would be interesting to
The
see if
whole
that changed.
front port side, so left when you're looking like forward, the enclosed area has seats. There's a bunch of seats where you can like sit, strap
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
you know?
But when you're talking long, like they're talking
That's what I'm
long
saying. You
distance,
could,
like
instead of that, you could
Pathfinders, it
have
does
like
seem,
3
yeah,
beds, let's say, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And there you go.
It
I'll
does
tell you
seem
one
like
more
an
thing.
oversight.
I would be really and I know you're gonna laugh about this because it's me, but realistically, I would be really surprised if this is not one of the ships that can land on a water surface easily because of how it's made.
Hmm.
It just looks like it. So if you
Mm,
have like water covered planet or whatever or something, I don't know. You can definitely. I mean, you can have a fishing party. I'm kidding. It's a little
that
bit
would
too big
be,
for that, but
yeah, okay, sure, sure. I mean, it's imagination
yeah,
station,
yeah.
so, like, whatever. I mean, but
I,
yeah. What was I gonna say?
you
I
know what
can't
I
remember. I
wonder?
wanted to
Like
expand on.
depending. Okay, so hear me out. This is crazy. Okay, this is just like me being a dumbass, right?
That's literally what this
I know,
section is
but this will
for.
be
It's why it's
like
called imagination station.
overboard. Okay, so so it depending on how ship to ship. Um, I don't know how to explain this. How the ship to ship like. Okay, I'll just go over it. Depending on how the ramp on this thing is, because in front you roll down the ramp and then vehicles can go and walk, like drive off and whatnot. What if there's a small ship, let's say Cutlass Black, right? Relatively small ship, whose owner is not there, and you fly this under, scoop their ship, and just bye bye. And then it's a ship hijacking platform, basically. I mean,
I mean,
I'm looking at this and I'm like, what prevents you? Like, maybe game literally does not allow you to, physically do this,
why wouldn't it though? Like it's kind of like that's their whole jam
because
with
you know how the whole that doesn't work. We need to set that up for you. Uh,
the like
sorry.
the whole point of like most of Star Citizen's gameplay is that if you can physically do it, they allow it because they don't want
No,
artificial
no. You know
constraints,
what
you
I'm
know?
saying is, like, right now you put the vehicle on a ramp and fucking ship explodes or whatever.
Oh
So
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying, like,
yeah.
physically, there might be a tech issue where you you fly under it and it's fucking. But in
Well, there
space,
shouldn't be though because
oh,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, in space,
you
right?
just go
Like
up, you go
yeah,
with it.
and like because like that's the whole thing about nested physics grids,
Yep,
right? Like that was
yep.
the whole thing. So like if you found somebody's ship that they had left drifting out in front of a station and you basically just like touched it down onto the pad of a
Dude,
liberator,
you want another
lock it
one?
down and that's yours. Like
This is literally perfect ship for Cutlet. They blow up a
yeah.
caterpillar and then they just like whoop, and they scooped all the boxes. They're good.
Yeah, well, Cutlet ideally won't be blowing up ships in the future, you
I
know.
know, but you know what I mean? Or someone jettisons cargo, you're just like, okay, it's mine now.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I don't know. Well, that's the other thing. It's not technically a cargo grid; it's a vehicle grid.
well, then you can take it and put it into cargo, right? It doesn't matter because it will, right?
There's gravity
There's
on
gravity
your
on it, right?
surface.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
fall
yeah.
down on it, and then you can do
Yeah,
with it
you're
whatever
right.
the
It
fuck
could
you
end up
want.
being a lot more trolly, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I just
I think
the
the
way it's designed, like I've said, very bare bones. I just feel like
yeah. Well,
it.
that's perfect for you too, because like even though you said you don't really want a ship this big, like with a crew of two, it means that it's like pretty much something you could run probably by yourself
I'm
or
really not
like
interested in this shit, which is funny. Like, I see how
wait, really?
open it. No, no, yeah, I don't. I
Huh.
love the fact that we have it. I think it's crazy, but I'm really not interested in Liberator for myself. Maybe that changes at some point, but I'm sure, like, in the next like couple of months, I'm gonna come up with like 20 different ideas what I can stupidly use this ship for. You know what I
Wow,
mean?
that's the beauty of a ship in
Yeah,
concept, right? You
but
can imagine all
also
sorts of things.
the way it's designed, it just allows you to, like, you know, I mean, how many Nova Tonks can you put on this?
Uh, how many did they show driving out of it?
No, on top.
Oh. Oh, you mean and just like he's turning it into like a ridiculous tank gunboat?
This existed in World War II. I don't or one. I don't remember what. Like, there was this platform basically. It's a raft. Originally, it was used to like transfer tanks through the channel. But then they realized they can like actually use it as a weapon. So they installed a couple of like armaments on it, but in reality, whatever vehicle you have on it also is using its firepower. So it's literally like these huge square looking rafts. You can't use them in the open waters like the ocean or whatever, obviously,
Yeah.
because it's unstable and all that. But like if you're in a channel or rivers or whatever, they or lakes, they actually use this system for additional firepower. And people do this already, right? They're gonna park their Nova tank on top of 890 jump and fire on things. But look at this thing. Like, this thing can actually have multiple Nova tanks back and forth and freaking just abolish things because we all know Nova Tank is really strong, and then Nova Tank is also protected
Yeah,
by its own shields, right? If it's on the grid, pretty sure that's how it works.
I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah. Again,
I
for
don't know. Yeah.
just want to say this is all Imagination Station. That's the name of the, as you can see on the screen, right there. Gosh, like,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts like against this ship in general? I think
I don't have anything against it. I mean, besides that the design seems kind of lazy, but I don't know. At the same time, it's purpose built, so like
yeah,
whatever. I guess. Um, uh, yeah,
it's
I
very low
really don't have
armed,
anything
right?
against it.
Like it has barely any
Yeah,
weapons.
well, but who cares? Like you know, that's not what this is for.
No,
You know what I
well,
mean?
yeah, but if you compare it to Kraken, for example, like that's the actual, you know, pretty
Well,
sure Kraken is like stuffed with like
well, that
turrets and
gets into
whatnot.
kind of what we were talking about, like on the captain's table about how
I
just
know.
like you can't compare this to a Kraken,
No, no, I'm
and you
not
shouldn't.
comparing it to anything, to be honest. And I think it's very unique so that you can't really compare it to much.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like the armaments are not a thing on it. It has really good jump drive, and I would assume. I mean, there must be some VTOL, right? Because look at this box; it has to take
Well,
off and
yeah, and
land,
I mean
right?
it exactly. Like I initially, I mean, it's gonna fly like a brick, but clearly, given its role, it like you know,
It has engines like Drake engines. So I assume in space, in actual open space, this thing should be okay. I don't know about thrusters and all because we can't see it here, but like it has, you know how Caterpillar engines are huge compared to the ship? This thing
yeah,
has even bigger engines compared to the size of this thing.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
fucking
Which makes sense. I mean, if it's gonna be
crazy.
hauling around multiple other
Yeah, yeah.
vehicles that are like tens to potentially hundreds of tons,
But yeah,
it's gonna need some serious thrust.
in atmosphere, you probably just want to like land and take
It
off, and that's
exactly. It's
it,
gonna be
right?
like brute force, just basically, like engines on full as it just basically drops like the brick it is.
But wait, but it has to be okay to fly in Atmo as well. Not like agile or whatever, but because it has ground vehicles, right? So you need to be able
Yeah,
to
sure, sure,
drop
sure,
them
sure.
out,
But
right?
that's what I'm saying. Like the way it's going to behave in atmosphere is basically just brute force. Like it's not aerodynamic. You're just
Yeah, yeah,
basically going to be just hammering fuel into the engines, so that you can kind of get down to your landing zone and then get out of there as soon as possible. Like something like that is not something you're going to want to loiter,
yeah,
in atmosphere. It's going to be like get down, unload your shit, and then get back up into space and hope to God you don't have to pay for the fuel.
yeah, yeah. Your org should pay for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool, man. I don't know. I like I've said before, not really interested in buying it for myself, but like this ship for me. The first that I did not expect this to something like this to be revealed on Citizencon. I had no, unlike for example Paul, who literally predicted something like this. Kind of funny.
Yeah.
But when I saw it and when I saw his design, immediately I was like, "Holy I love this! I actually love this," which is kind of surprising because it's not really a beautiful ship or anything.
Yeah.
And, but immediately it sparked my imagination. And one thing that I mentioned before is I see this ship potentially as something that we will see a lot of NPCs using, kind of for a bunch of things. I would think. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's yeah. I see it as a very common NPC chip. Yeah, if you don't have anything to add to that,
It's okay.
yeah,
Yeah. I agree in that, like, yes, it'll be a common NPC ship, but I do think that, like, I still hold to the fact that I think the bulk of ship transportation will be done by things like Hull series ships
for
in
sure,
as opposed to something
especially
like
for
this.
NPCs, right?
Yeah.
But I see this as like easily raidable, like PV content. Like, you figure out where they're using liberators, you go and hijack this ship or like steal whatever is on top of it or stuff like that. For like PV, I don't know, like piracy gameplay or whatever GTA style. Where you like someone drops you off their ship, and then you hijack a ship that is on top and you fly away or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess ultimately, I'll just give you this one insofar as like I didn't really explore how versatile this could be, and frankly, even just reading through the brochure was enough to make me go, oh, okay, so there's
Yeah.
more to this ship than just like a point A to point, well, like a near point A to point B kind of
Mm.
transportation. It's like with the focus on range and stuff like that, it does open up like a lot of possibilities for different combinations. But yeah, other than that, it's like, yeah, okay, okay. I don't really have much more to add to it because, like I said, I'm not
Do
super
we
interested in the
ground
ship. But
vehicles
yeah,
with on, right? With the sleep with beds? I don't think we do. Like Ursa
no, I don't
has
think so.
seats, but
Or yeah, no beds. I don't think.
Tonk doesn't have a bed.
No,
Because
that's
technically,
problematic for like longer range stuff. But
if yeah, yeah, I don't know. Like the weight, like if you could like fix the beds inside, you have like small base of operations. Maybe they didn't want it that way, so maybe that's why we don't have. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm slightly distracted here for anybody who's listening. Also, just because I just realized that Zinyan, who just rated us with a party of 69, and that
Yes.
you have to have an obligatory nice for that. So
I saw that. I smiled, and yeah, big
So I
thanks
just
for Zinyan.
I had to do a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. I don't really have anything more to add
yeah.
to
Okay.
the Liberator, but you're
We're
right. Yeah.
we're done
Uh,
with the imagination station then, and I'm gonna let you take over with absolute zero effort science section, brought to you by Masocast.
yeah, okay. So I'm just going to have to like read through this really quick cuz I came up with this zero effort section while ago.
Well, we were still
But
doing it like weekly.
yeah. Yeah. So basically, if you are new here, this is Masso's absolute zero effort science section. I'm not a scientist, but I'm a nerd, and I like kind of like analyzing what science Star Citizen gets right, what they get not so right, and there's a lot of not so right, but obviously, whatever. It's a game. But one of the things that is kind of an interesting concept that is kind of baked into the lore of Star Citizen is the idea of a technological dark age, or at least technological stagnation. Something that we hear constantly in the Star Citizen community is, oh, it's 900 years in the future, and we don't have dot dot dot. It's 900 years in the future, and we still do dot dot dot. Like because I think a lot of people have this like idea that technology consistently progresses as time goes on, and you can actually look back in Earth's history right now, and you can see multiple situations where that like isn't the case. For example, like the level of understanding of medicine and things like that in the Roman Empire was much higher than it was in the medieval periods, and frankly even into some of the Renaissance periods and things like that. And that is essentially something that the writers of Star Citizen have kind of doubled down on with the narrative and the lore in Star Citizen. So while yes, it is 900 years in the future to present day in Star Citizen, humanity went through multiple periods where we stagnated in our technological development, and in some cases actually fully regressed. But yeah, like it's something that I think is pretty interesting to kind of like just kind of wrap your brain around that throughout the Messer period. in Star Citizen, things got so bad that science was stagnating simply because it was like not politically expedient in certain situations to to follow certain lines of research, and as a result, the universe that we have right now and that we're living in Star Citizen is not necessarily as far ahead as it would be in if technology had kind of progressed linearly throughout history. And it's specifically, and this is something again they've mentioned in that the writers have mentioned in various posts and stuff like that, is that like the level of technology in the Star Citizen universe is very um like what's the word I'm looking for? It's really uneven. Like in some aspects, like we're very far ahead and very far future, and then other areas of the technology have really stagnated, and that in part anyway is because like throughout that really autocratic period of uh of the Messer area, like it was very reminiscent to like the Soviet Union under Stalin, where like you could very easily just get yourself disappeared if you said the wrong thing to the wrong person and you were a scientist.
But
Um,
even on like broader level, I would say like the first thing that comes to mind for me is look at the World War like one and two, where
mhm,
certain areas would excel, create like 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 naval, for example, um discoveries, and
yeah,
how much the ships or vehicles in general, because all the money was pumped into, let's say, Skoda, Porsche, whatever, whoever was producing tanks, and any kind of mechanization for the war efforts, that would like go up right on the scale throughout these years of the war. But then some other parts of science would just really be
yeah,
dragged behind big time, because no resources are going that way, because it's not
yeah.
immediately
Well,
useful or whatever.
it's actually kind of interesting that you say that because in during World War II, in fact, actually, during the period when Russia was being invaded by Germany, there was a huge setback to the field of genetics in that in at that particular point. Like one of the world's leading geneticists, plant geneticists, was working on a theory that basically would have probably allowed for uh, probably would have allowed for a lot of people to not die of starvation in the Soviet
Mm,
Union during that period, because he was making serious progress, him and his team, figuring out kind of like how to actively breed in traits like drought resistance, like higher yields, like all those sorts of kind of things that could have like helped to feed kind of the Soviet Union. But he was basically out politicked a by a rival who suckered up to Stalin, and and he fell into disfavor and was eventually executed for like trying to push this kind of genetic advancement, right?
mm.
And yeah, it's one of those examples where we were literally set back,
Yeah, we get it literally
possibly
goes
30
backwards
years.
almost. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we
Yeah.
were set back 30 years,
I mean, we're
and
humans, right? I mean, look at CAG.
yeah, yeah,
There's a wheel, but we want a different wheel. Oh, yeah, it's a little bit
yeah,
over the
yeah, yeah.
top,
We're
but
gonna
you
we're
know what
gonna
I mean?
invent
Like,
this different wheel. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 100%. Yeah. Rocket technology, space flight is another kind of good example of where we've seen like a stagnation in our own history. Like we went to the moon, what is it, 50 years ago now? I can't even remember.
Something like that, yeah.
And like to this day, like however many years later, however many decades later, we don't have a rocket that can go there anymore.
Yeah.
Like the technology has stagnated and even regressed to a point where we're only now starting to see these companies pick up the slack and push the technology back forward, so that we can do manned flights to anywhere outside of low Earth orbit, right? And that wasn't even a result of like an oppressive dictator. It was just because our public funding dried up when the
I
Cold
just
War
they were waiting for William
ended.
Shatner to be ready, to
You're
go
right.
to
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it.
totally. But yeah, like yeah, it's basically stagnated and regressed for 50 years. So yeah, I guess that's basically kind of one of the areas that Star Citizen actually does, kind of
Kinda good, right?
realistically,
Yeah.
insofar as the level of
And it's
technology
like
that we see has.
defending the reasons more than right, like
Sure, 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 yeah.
but
But it is something that
that's
can
good.
happen,
I
right?
like that.
Like they've
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they've built
Potentially it's
that into
possible.
their lore, you know, and while a lot of people might initially ridicule it, it's not necessarily deserved. I mean,
I
it
think it's
doesn't
really
take much
good
to look back and see where where the same things have happened here,
because no matter
with.
how much you let your imagination go, whatever you come up with, right? Some people either find it funny or they would say that this could be better this way and humanity would never go that way. And
Mm,
whatever you figure out in a game, someone will say, "What? That's all? Like we did in 900 years or whatever." Like there's no
sure.
winning in this. So if you
Yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah.
make a proper barrier to this, which I feel like what you're saying is, and somewhat realistic, right? It's
Mhm.
really good because you have a dampener kind of like where you can always stand behind it and say, whatever, man, like this is how it,
Yeah,
it works, like it is what it is. And look
yeah,
look at your own, race right now and
totally.
what's happening. So yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
good. I think that's good.
And I mean, there's always stuff like whenever we do this and we look at, the science of Star Citizen and stuff like that, obviously there's going to be things that you can't even really attribute to,
I mean, yeah,
stagnation.
it's a
You're
game,
going to
right?
have to suspend disbelief
Yeah,
at some point when you realize that, like ultimately we want to play a game and it's fun.
exactly,
Like
it's a game.
the concept of us flying around in space fighter planes, for example, like it's just not that's not how it would ever work, no matter
Nope.
no matter what sort of technological regression you had. But like so you still have to suspend disbelief. But I do appreciate that the writers kind of have addressed this directly and just basically kind of pointing to our own uh history to see where or how possible it is for us to stagnate or regress entirely with technology. But yeah.
Very, very cool. Yeah,
Oh,
I did not even think about this in a way, but it actually makes sense. This is sometimes when you do these I'm kind of intrigued, but it's not on my level of understanding how things work. But this one, and sometimes it's just mind blown. But this one is kind of logical. But I like that you brought it up because I never even thought about something like this. So
yeah.
yeah, and
I thought
also
it was
did
pretty
not
fun. It
read
just
your wall of text notes either. So so this was all new for me.
yeah, I can't remember. I think I was actually listening to that World War
World War
II
Two, yeah,
podcast or the World War II YouTube series when
so
this
good.
just jumped out at me. I was like, "Oh,
This makes
right. I guess that,
sense. Yeah.
yeah." But
Connecting
anyways,
the
yeah.
dots. Uh, okay, man. I mean, like a perfect length so far. We're like 10 minutes away from 3 hours,
Yeah,
and
we do have one question.
here it is: Q&A and outro. So yeah, I know there was a question we can elaborate on a little bit. You want to read it?
Yeah. Yeah, so Panther Modern asks, how do you see yourselves playing differently when 315 goes live?
You want me to start?
Yeah, you go.
For starters, I'm gonna play it.
Yeah.
It's already
Yeah.
different. um, I'm gonna try and be very open minded. I have to be careful with like my expectations and everything because just before 3.15 went to PTU, I did uninstall the game for the first time. So
Yeah.
I'm at the very edge of even being able to, cope with the game at any level. But I will just like for Citizen, where I gave them benefit of a doubt to like surprise me in a positive way, which they didn't, fortunately. But um, I'm gonna do the same with with 315. I've seen things already. I don't know. I think I want to allow people to enjoy the game now that like literally any one of us, we don't have like a big reach or whatever, but any one of us can now allow you can be an enabler of an interesting gameplay for someone else. So one thing that I definitely want to do is first of all, I think I am going to try and stack up my ship with things. That's the first thing. Whatever, like plushies,
Yeah, yeah,
drinks,
yeah.
food.
See how much they stick, how much they stay.
Exactly.
Hmm,
I'm gonna
interesting.
steal bunch of stuff. Steal like pick up bunch of stuff from like NPCs and like fill my armor lockers and hope that this actually persists, right?
So what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull an HC Vertigo and you're gonna basically crash the server every
No, not
time
like
you log
oh
in.
my god, that thing, dude. I saw that. No, just like to have everything filled on my ship, as in like weapon stands, armor stands, stuff like that. Um, and then supplies like food, drinks, and all that because I want to have it. I want to spend the least possible amount away from my ships. So if the because I'll be honest, before 315, from what I was playing lately, I did not have many 30Ks. I was kind of lucky with that. I had other issues.
Yeah, yeah,
30Ks
yeah.
were not happening
Totally. 314 has been pretty stable as far as the 30K
for
things go,
me
for me
personally. I've
anyways.
seen people,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I've seen people struggling with that. So if I don't get too many 30Ks, then I can probably finally live my fantasy of playing the game with my ship being base of
Yeah.
operations or whatever I'm doing at the time. Um,
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna interrupt here for a second. Do you know if they fixed bed logging in 315 by chance? Is it still
it's
unreliable?
okay. I'm just gonna play until server crashes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Like in certain ships it works, in certain it doesn't. It's really strange.
Hmm.
But again, I'd rather wake up in the middle of Stanton than in the middle of Lorville. So I
Totally.
don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with
It's just when you get
400 die, like I can
sometimes you
just
get stuck with those infinite loading bugs.
true. Yeah. Then I can play my other account. I guess. Whatever. We'll see.
Well, no, sometimes you just wait it out.
Yeah.
Like I've had that happen before where it just like it loads you in and then it disconnects you and then you load in again and it's fine and you're just where you left off. But yeah,
Pelvic Chaos in your chat confirms that for them it was working even 2 days later. So that's kind of cool.
cool. Okay.
Um, what I was saying about them enabling. So when I actually die, I will not die, but like am knocked down. I will try and make beacons and wait for
Get
people
rescued
to come and
instead of
rescue
just
me.
yeah,
And this is what I was saying. If you have patience, think about it this way. Sometimes you're gonna benefit from this, right? And
yeah.
because you have something to lose. But most of the times, it's gonna be easier for you to backspace.
Well, that's why like if you're streaming it, it makes sense because it's content, right?
Yeah, I don't
To
care. I
like
can
make
go
the
and play
beacon and wait.
GeoGuessr while someone is coming to save me on stream.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't care.
totally.
And this way, I'm gonna allow this person to actually have their game loop as well. So I am
Yeah,
going to focus on trying to allow other people to enjoy. And right now, like,
that's
because I
fair.
feel like later down the line when we have NPCs, you're gonna be able to go and rescue like NPCs as well. So whatever, you're gonna have something
Yeah,
to do
well,
anyways.
and conversely, NPCs will be able to come and rescue you
Sure.
too.
But right now, there's so many people. First, there's two groups of people. Ones that were just waiting for this to happen, and this is their. It's like if I
Yeah,
get exploration or salvage, I don't know. That's something I'm waiting for because I don't care about mining, for example, right? So for them, the first iteration of their gameplay is there, and if you have it in you, help these folks enjoy
that's a good call. That's a good call. I'm actually glad you
gameplay.
said that because my initial reaction was going to be like, ugh, I'll probably just backspace unless it's something that I really
Mm.
want to, or just give up. Like unless it's something that I really want, unless I have something on me that I really want to keep. But
Not gonna lie, man,
no,
making
but
that hospital like is going to become very old because I
oh,
think
100%.
that's a good incentive to wait because it's not like
Depends
making
on
in
how
your
long you're waiting.
hotel. I
Like
know,
that.
but you have to go and buy everything again. Like that's fucking when you backspace now, on PU, you wake up in your bed with your gear on, right? You don't care about it. You get up, go through the fucking boring, like the whole
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
freaking
yeah, yeah, yeah.
elevator
Sit on your
simulator game.
kilometer-long elevator,
Yeah.
yeah.
But now you wake up in a hospital, then you have to heal yourself, then you have to go buy your armor, then you have to change the fucking. Everyone's gonna be running around in fucking blue gown or whatever it's called, Like it's like that already, Like Montoya was recording a video for 400i in beautiful armor and everything, and then he crashed, and then he was okay. I had to relog again, and I'm sorry, I'm in this, gown or whatever, Like it's like fucking annoying. So there's an incentive to wait for someone, okay?
I think one of the first things I'm gonna do is buy multiple suits of armor. But yeah, yeah,
But what are you going?
um,
Well, yeah, if you have them in your, but that's the
yeah.
thing. You're gonna.
You're right, you're right, you're
Yeah, I
right.
don't
Like
know.
like
We'll see. Yeah,
Yeah, but ultimately for me, it'll just come down to like I don't know how much patience I'm going to have for waiting
that's fair.
15 plus minutes, right? So like
That's
I
if you're
agree in
lucky,
that
by the
you're
way. I
right.
think
You're right.
you might
Yeah,
wait even more.
exactly.
And then
Yeah.
they might die because you died due to something happened. I did not even think about this, right? I die and I call someone, they res me, cool. But in reality, you died because these motherfuckers killed you in the bunker and they're still standing on top of you. So whoever is rescuing you needs to fight
Has to
them,
come in.
right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
not
yeah.
die to a one shot.
Successfully and not get shot
Yeah,
through a
yeah.
wall by a desyncing NPC or something like
And
that.
it's hard to communicate to them what happened so that they can come prepared or whatever. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's kind of rough. Another thing,
But I,
sorry, before I finish,
oh, it's fine.
and
Yeah,
then
go for it.
I'll let you to answer the question is,
Well, I was actually just going to expand on the
oh,
waiting for
go
yeah.
ahead then. Go ahead. Because I'm going to
Um
switch. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just basically that I was basically just gonna double down and say, like, you're right in that, like, allowing people who wanna play medical gameplay, their medical gameplay is cool. But what I I'll just ask because like I said, I haven't paid attention to any PTU or anything like that. When you put out a rescue beacon, is it localized or is it literally all everywhere in Stanton?
I don't know. I think it's localized because the person who came and saved Meyer was there in 3 minutes.
Yeah, and that's
Then
why kind of like I would hope that it's localized because if it's Stanton wide and some jackass in Microtech is picking up my beacon
people
when
can
I'm
troll you with that. Yeah.
well, not even necessarily trolling, it's not even necessarily that they're doing that specifically. It's just I don't want to wait for somebody who wants to play medical
Yeah.
gameplay to make the 20-minute trip, from Microtech to wherever I am, and because he's accepted the beacon, nobody else who's closer can
True.
accept the beacon. So I hope that the beacons there are localized, or I'm gonna rapidly run out of patience to sit on the ground and wait for people to come
I'll tell you
rescue
something
me.
though. If peoples are not if if beacons are not working properly in that way, not many people will use them. You'll just type in general chat, "Hey, I need help to be rescued." Someone will
Fair
invite you
enough.
to the group. You'll pay them
That's fair enough. I guess if you can
10K.
chat, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's okay as well, right? Like it doesn't matter. It's fine. I'm here on Yella. I need help, and whoever is in PO can just pop
Throw you
over.
an
You
invite.
transfer
Yeah.
money. It's all good. I like that even more. To be fair, like not to mention we have only 50 people per server. Like a lot of people will
Well,
play medical now, but like later,
I mean,
not so
yeah, yeah,
much.
that's true. Yeah, when people get bored of it. I think that the beacon is obviously the way to go first because then the person who's accepting that gets a reward and you don't have to pay them. So like, you know,
Yeah, but that's not
because like
realistic. I don't know.
if you're forking out your own money, well
Just don't
then
die,
like
motherfucker. How
yeah,
you think
get
you're gonna be
good.
dead 24/7? What?
No,
I hope I'm
you're
not
right.
gonna
I
be
don't.
dying that much.
Well, unless you get those like yeah, rando bugs where it's like,
Yeah.
I stepped off the stairs wrong and now I'm bleeding to death.
Yep.
That was my main worry, and I've said it a bunch in our show, like that was my main worry with
Mm,
medical gameplay was that like was that I hoped it wasn't punishing to the point where bugs were just fucking you up more than gameplay, you know what I mean?
yep.
But yeah,
The other thing that's gonna change for me in 315 is I will go back to doing delivery missions and get that reputation in hope that it actually rewards me in some way, which I doubt.
it would be cool though.
Um, the other thing that I really want to try is doing the what I call salvage missions again, where you go to derelict sites and actually collect boxes and sell them,
Mm.
which I feel like would be a nice gameplay loop for 400i. But yeah, I might end up like making money to buy in-game Cutlass Red and do it with that because man,
This
like
will be interesting to see is if they've adjusted the value of
I
those
don't think they
boxes at
did
all.
yet. I think
Because
that's yet
it's
to
on
come.
the radar. Like, they talked about it
Yeah, yeah. In
even in
Citizencon.
the Citizencon panel, yeah. Yeah.
But I
Um,
think that's coming with like cargo refactor or whatever. So I don't know. But yeah, that's it for me. Like,
yeah.
I hope the game will not piss me off fast enough to like Alt F4 and tell it to go
This
where
sounds yeah. Well, I mean, okay, temper your expectations because it's still gonna be Star
I'm
Citizen,
I'm
but
not capable of doing that. Obviously. Eh.
for me, one, I'm gonna space truck again, man. This sounds really stupid, I guess, to people who don't like space trucking, but but not being able to do space trucking in Star Citizen has just made it so much harder for me to enjoy the game. Like, even though like cargo hauling and stuff like that is super basic and super frustrating, and there's not a lot to it, like especially when you're losing your cargo, frustrating when you're losing your cargoes and stuff, and there's not a lot to it insofar as there's only like a few very limited routes. But I don't know. There's something about even the most basic version of space trucking that makes the game so much more tolerable for me because it allows me to it's just one more thing I can do that I enjoy, right? Something that makes me like it's
I
something I
might
can
do
do
that
when
as
I'm
well.
bored of running bounties or like just when I want to mix it up and like I'll do the odd box mission and then run cargo at the same time as I'm doing, those box missions
But
or,
don't
you
forget,
know,
you have
just
to
throwing it into that gameplay rotation is
start over. Don't forget about that. Like, you're not gonna be able to start
that's
tracking
fine.
right away.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I'm super
But
excited about the wipe,
but
man. I've been waiting
my
for this wipe forever. I think that's
that's
probably what I'm most excited for.
actually that's a good call. Yeah, I didn't even think about the wipe, but no, it's like I don't want to just truck full time again. Like it's just having that stuff so I have more of an option of stuff to do because like right now I really feel like that in like 314, 313, 312, 311, 310, maybe even 2, if you want to be doing stuff and not feeling like you're just wasting your time or pissing around for the sake of pissing around, there wasn't really much to do outside of like bounty missions, for example. Box missions not
M-
worth it.
Man, when I think about it,
Cargo hauling completely broken, can't
yeah,
do it. Smuggling broken as a result. Um, Mining, you
that's
couldn't
what I'm
even really
thinking.
do that
Smuggling
too
might be a
because
sleeper, man, especially for 400 dice.
yeah,
Oh, and there's
yeah.
gonna be a freaking Jump Town 2 as well. And I forgot about talking about this because, man, let me tell you something. The bombs are useless, right? The only thing you can do with a bomb right now is if you're doing a bunker mission, you can drop them on these turrets and kill them, which is kind
Yeah.
of useful. But I mean, if you're going with that ship to do a bunker mission, I mean, sure you can do it, right? But like,
Yeah, yeah. A little bit overkill.
it's an
Maybe a
overkill.
little bit overkill.
However,
But what the hell else are you gonna do with it right
well,
now?
let me tell you what you're gonna do about it and feel really good about it as well. Like, people are
Just
going to
fly over
go to
Jump Town?
fucking Jump Town.
Oh
And they have to
no.
go in on foot, brother. And
Oh
you
no.
get oh my god. Can you imagine
Oh,
Jump Town with
that's gonna be the biggest troll ship.
holy shit, dude. People are going to like spend so much money on these bombs to just like rain fucking bombs over Jump. However, the bombs are kind of slow. You can destroy them while they're falling down. I
Oh,
know
you
that for a
can.
fact. Yes, you
Okay,
can.
okay.
And you can kind of see them. They're big. So you can actually have like a rail gun or whatever, and just like shoot it.
Somebody
But
sitting in the ship turret. Yeah, or
bro,
something
but
like that.
but think about it.
Yeah,
Like, that's
that's
gonna
funny.
piss a lot of people off.
That's
You know
gonna
what I mean?
piss so many people off. Hell, there was so many like again, like back when the original Jump Town was happening right now. It was amazing to me how many people got so salty
Of
when they got
course.
shot down over Jump Town, and I'm just like, the fuck did you guys expect?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what do you expect?
You know what? That's one
But
thing. If I go back to streaming, which I might, because right now I stream warships and I enjoy that a lot. But like I do need something else. I'm kind of split between Elder Scrolls Online again, maybe, or Star Citizen.
Mhm,
I might, for the first time in a long time, open myself up for like small group gameplay
right.
for these things,
Well,
kind
if
of.
you're gonna do Jump Town, you're gonna probably have to have a
Yeah,
crew.
that's what I'm saying. Well, I probably wouldn't do Jump Town in general, but like if I have like one or two people with me, which I can usually get, or just like anything else, because if you have another person with you with a med gun, your chances of enjoying gameplay right now are
Yeah,
300% higher.
yeah.
Because whatever happens, you can res them, or they can not res, but like like
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
can fix
Pick them
them, or
up
they can fix
if you
you.
got, like,
Yeah,
Terminatored by or shot by, like, a Terminator AI or
yeah,
whatever, but
yeah.
yeah, yeah. But anyway, I guess, like, my point with what I was saying was that, like, up until this point, you couldn't even really mine because, like, when you're refining your materials and then trying to sell them places, oftentimes you just run into a brick wall where you couldn't sell
Mining,
anything.
this is huge for mining. You're right.
The fact that they have fixed cargo hauling, to me, has fixed, like, 60 to 70% of the game. Um,
For you, maybe.
and for me, yeah,
Yeah,
because there's now I'm basically not only out there grinding bounties. I can grind some bounties and be like, I'm
I'm
gonna
over that,
go
man. That was never
do
my
some.
loop, but I
All
played
right,
it so much
I
because there was nothing
I
else to
know,
do.
I know. I'm so fucking bored of it too. Um, and then, like, but now I have the option, right? I can go mining. I can go, cargo hauling. I can do bounty missions. I can, do smuggling or whatever. And it just there's just more to keep me engaged in the game, and I feel like that in and of itself is going to kind of make me more likely to want to actually play it. Um, Other than that, like, I don't know, like, I always travel really minimalistically anyways, as far as like what I'm not the kind of person to walk around in full armor and, like, with multiple guns on my back. If I'm not planning on doing a ground mission, I'm usually just in a flight suit helmet with a
Mhm.
sidearm, like, I don't you know so I don't think that's gonna change too much for me. And
I
as far as the
think
medical stuff goes, I just hope that I don't spend too much time doing the elevator game, um, to but yeah, like, I
I I,
I'm
I
I
think
don't
I
die very often, but I do, like, bugs, right?
yeah.
Like, so
With the way the 400i is set up, which makes a lot of sense. Like when you enter the ship, your lockers are there.
mm,
So depending on how easy it is to actually dispose your armor into a locker, I might actually fly my ship in civilian clothes, which I'm not really an RP type of a person, but
yeah,
we have some cool clothes in this game that are
yeah,
basically useless. So
totally.
I don't know, maybe.
Oh yeah, and then the other thing that I will be doing at some point in 315, specifically when the Redeemer comes out, I am going to be basically getting as high of a crime stat as possible and just seeing how much chaos me and my brother can cause in a Redeemer.
Well, but you're gonna get a crime stat, and then three redeemers will show up to kill you.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That sounds like fun to me.
Okay.
I don't know. I bet you I can cause a lot of chaos before the three Redeemers show up.
Yeah, I mean like noodle in a redeemer or something like that. Like
Yeah,
player
I don't know.
redeemers, not you know what I mean? Yeah, no,
Just to respond to that because, and I know that we generally don't respond to chat, but we're in the QA
we're
section,
in
so I'm
QA.
just
It's
gonna
fine.
do it. Pelvic Chaos says that the Ares is gonna be the Redeemer's worst nightmare. I don't know, maybe like ideally, I would say like the that class of ship, the Redeemer size, maybe even like caterpillars and stuff like that. Caterpillar C2, yeah, the Ares is gonna be pretty ferocious to that, but the Redeemer is like so combat focused that I think a single Ares might struggle
If it
with a
manages to
Redeemer,
be stealthy
especially.
enough, I
Oh,
think,
the Ares?
yeah,
I
I
don't
think
think
it
I don't
can
know if I don't
drop
know. I don't we'll have to see, like, how potent the alpha of an Ares actually is. Because, like,
the most
I don't know.
potent.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, but,
So
like,
let's
how
say
is
they
it
fire first shot at you whilst you don't see them
I'll just
yet.
put a
So then you see
I'll
them,
just
they fire one more, right?
I'll flat out say that I'm not scared of the ion. I'm just not. I think that the ion is gonna be, not nearly as useful as people think it is, not by itself anyways. I think it'll be potent in group scenarios, but if it was a single Ares ion versus a Redeemer, I'd still put my money on the Redeemer.
I have to
An
see, but
Inferno
potentially
an Inferno, I think, is a little scarier because you have that
ballistic, right?
the shield yeah, the shield bleed through, which if the alpha is high enough could really seriously fuck up a Redeemer before, you know.
I
But
yeah, I
like
hope
I think the sorry, go.
I hope that it's gonna be scary. Like I really hope that Ares will be scary for that size of a ship.
Yeah,
Like you see
sure.
you shit bricks, you're like fuck. Like when you see like let's think about this. Like no matter how good of a pilot you are, maybe Darklaw or doesn't care. I mean I've seen him not caring about it. But if you show up in an eclipse, no matter what you're in, you're like, oh fuck. It's size seven no size nine
Yeah,
torpedoes, man.
that's
Like that's fucked. Like you can't outmaneuver it, you can't, escape and all
yeah,
that,
like
but
honestly,
you're shitting
I'd be
bricks, right?
more personally, I'd be more afraid of an eclipse
For
in a
sure, it's a
Redeemer than I would be
submarine, right?
of
Of
an
course.
Ares,
Yeah.
right?
But still,
Because the
like these
Ares again,
guys,
like okay, so Ares has got a single size 7. That
yeah.
Redeemer has two size 3s and 4 size 5s on it. If that if they can draw a bead on that Inferno, it's going to tear the shit out of that
No, if
thing
it comes to a
so
point where
fast.
Inferno is being fired upon, then it's fucked, right? There's no doubt about it. It's a single
Yeah.
seater small ship, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think it should be very agile either. I think it should be
Well, and
sluggish
that's the
kind
other
of.
thing too. I think the Redeemer is probably going to be a lot more agile than
A lot more? I don't think so. Maybe on par. It would
with
be
wait.
silly. It's a huge ship, man, and it's
No,
a
no, no,
brick
no. I'm
kind of.
sorry. I wasn't saying with respect to the Ares. I was saying just a
Okay,
lot
okay.
more agile than people. I think it'll surprise people with agility.
I
Would be
think
my
so as
guess.
well, but
Because
like right now, it's kind of silly because fucking a caterpillar is still kind of agile. You know what I mean? Like that's makes no
yeah, that's true. That's true. But like, but if there's any ship that it would make sense to have more agile, I would say it would be something like a
I
Redeemer
think
because
it's
it's
gonna be
combat
fairly
focused.
agile. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically supposed to be the fighter version of the ships of that particular
How many
size
of
range,
those
right?
guns are you in charge of as a pilot, though?
You're in charge of the 2 size 4s and 2 size 3s, which is pretty ferocious.
Still less than Constellation, though.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I'd put my money on your enemy if they
On
can
on
fire the
the
first shot without you detecting them.
yes,
Because I
but
think
again,
that's at
there's
least
nothing.
two shots before you
Well,
can retaliate, right?
even then, man, like we have to see like what
Yeah,
does the
capacitor and all
alpha
that. Yeah,
through
of
the
course. Yeah, yeah.
shields and stuff like that. Like yeah, I don't know. I still just think that and this is the thing, like I'll be honest, like I have an Inferno. I think they're gonna be really fun. But I think that
I don't.
those ships are going to be something that by themselves you don't shit bricks. But when you have a group jump in and there's an Inferno in there, that's where you have to worry.
I
That's where that thing gets
I
scary.
know I would run that ship like Eclipse. Like I would be full on stealth components
Yeah.
because element of surprise or fuck.
Oh yeah.
Unless I'm in a fleet, which I mean, let's face it, fleets are not really a thing with 50-player servers. But
No, no, no. But I mean, even like if you start talking about a pair of Ares.
Okay, sure.
then all of a sudden it's a lot scarier. You know what I
Can
mean?
Aries fit
Or
into Carrack like
no,
Bay? No,
no, no, no, no, no. They're big. They're big.
they're big,
Yeah, they're not small.
bigger
Like
than Eclipse.
they're I don't know, probably about the same size actually
Okay.
would be like because they're heavy fighters, right? Like they're
What? What does that mean, even, man? Come on, it's
well, that means
CG.
that basically you're looking
Hurricane
at
is a heavy fighter. What the fuck is? It's not big. You know what I mean? It's the size
yeah,
of
that's true.
A7.
The Vanguard's big.
Vanguard's big, yeah.
That's why I was picturing it kind of on the same size
Seriously?
range as the Vanguard.
I don't.
Maybe slightly smaller,
I think it's
but
gonna
like
be.
at least as wide.
It's there's no interior. It's one cockpit and a gun, and that's
Yeah,
it,
but it's chonky though, man. Look at
bro.
that
It's gonna
thing.
be small. Like,
If it's small, that would I mean, it'd be cool, but because I have one,
oh
but
man, I pictured it really
I don't
small.
think so. I think it's gonna be pretty hefty.
I
I mean,
pictured like
that
small
was how it was
buggers.
sold anyways. Because remember, like back
I
when they
think
came out,
heavy.
it had size 2 components, and that was like pretty unusual for a single seater.
Yeah,
Like the
but these
Vanguard
numbers,
had
I think they're heavy. They have to fall into heavy because of the size of a fucking gun.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, come on. It's ridiculous.
yeah.
But
You know
I
where it'd
don't
be extra scary too is like paired with a ship with an EMP. Because man, if that Inferno goes up against a hull that's basically disabled and the
tripped.
shields are
Yeah.
stripped off, that's where that thing is going to be absolutely terrifying. Like that's just gonna poke holes in things. But yeah.
Dimensions are pretty large. Can you compare it to any like ship? Roughly?
Wait, do they have that on Fleet Viewer? Probably do.
I would be surprised if it's big. Is it like if it's like MSR big? I would be that
No,
that
no, no,
would be
no. It's
crazy.
definitely not MSR big. Like it's definitely going to be smaller than an MSR.
I mean,
Uh,
Vanguard is not that much smaller than MSR. I'm just gonna say that.
it's pretty. I
It's more
guess
than
it's
a
like it's
black and slightly bigger than a saber. That's small. Okay, it's not a big ship. It's big for a single seater. Okay, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
also you think about it, like the gun is so far in front of it that the fucking length of it kind of lies a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you remove that fucking 10 kilometer long gun barrel. I mean, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, just like looking at it, it's a chonky looking ship. It's not like
Okay.
like it's not basically it's way too
Why the
chonky to
fuck
fit
is it
inside
so
a
chunky though? That makes no sense to me. Like you would
well
want this ship to be as small as possible, right?
well when it's the logic behind it was that it because it
Components?
needed to be overbuilt basically with like much bigger components to make it
Components, okay.
yeah, yeah.
Because everything there is, like
Fleet View, it
empty
actually
space.
I can't
Huh?
Fleet View, it's actually like almost the same size as a Redeemer. But they couldn't this Redeemer could be the older model, I'm not sure.
Well, compared to Cutlass Black, you know how big that is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's hefty though. I don't know how stealthy it's gonna be, but
Yeah, if
I'm
it's
gonna have
that
fun
big,
with that
then
too.
I don't know. Yeah, if it's not stealthy and if it's like if it's big, it's an easy target to hit, and then it's probably very sluggish. So fucking missiles are kind of a. So, and then you
They
have to like turn that ship. Like you can actually
yeah,
like be a hard
they
target if it's slow and
in
big.
the Q&A, they said it's gonna be similar to a Vanguard. And Vanguards right now actually, they're definitely noticeably heftier.
I would hope though Vanguard is like better, more agile in atmosphere than them because they're not really planes. You know what I mean? Like they
I
don't
don't know
seem
about
very
an atmosphere.
aerodynamic, right? They're
What?
beautiful ships. They're fucking beautiful. No,
The
no
Crusader?
surprise.
No, the
Yeah.
Crusader's like plenty. It's plenty aerodynamic.
What?
Yeah. Hold on.
Ares?
Yeah.
It has no fucking wings, dude.
It's all wings. It's one wing.
It doesn't work like that. No.
Like here.
This usually, by the way, happens before streams for us. We like start talking like this, and that's why we record straight out of Stanton for like 10 hours. I mean, it takes 10 hours of our time. I mean, yeah, okay. Yeah, nah. It's fucking beautiful though. It's so beautiful.
It is, yeah. I'll be honest, so I'm probably not gonna keep it. I picked
Wanna
it up
take
because
it
it was
for a
like a
spin? Yeah.
$5 CCU, and I was like,
Oh shit!
"Sure."
When you compare it to MSR, it's actually holy shit. The width is almost the same as MSR.
That's what I'm saying, like, it's not a
Okay, I
small
now I
not a
like
small
it
boy.
less because it's too big. It's
Yeah,
way too big. Dang. I thought they were like much smaller.
nah. But yeah, I don't know. So that's kind of my plans for 315.
Yeah.
Mess around with the Redeemer and stuff when I can. Obviously mess around with the Inferno when that's out. But like as for what I'm gonna do differently, I don't know. I'm not the best person to ask on that because like I said at the beginning, I haven't played any PTU. I haven't been paying attention to Star Citizen much actually lately just because I've been pretty feeling burnt out about it. But yeah.
All right. So this kind of concludes it. Before we leave, our plan, since we're not doing this weekly anymore, we just couldn't deal with that. Which, if you're curious about why and all that, you can watch our last episode, which is really short and explains all that. So our next
Short for
episode,
us, it was still a
yeah,
half an hour.
yeah. But usually we do this for like 4 hours, right?
Yeah.
So the next episode should happen first week of November, which is 7th of November. Uh, what? Everything was frozen for a moment on my end.
Oh, no, it's working okay here. I didn't
Okay.
notice any freezing.
Well, I'm recording it, but yeah.
Okay, right.
But anyways, yeah. So 7th of November, we're going to do another one. If you want to watch it live, you can come to Twitch TV/Masocast, or somewhere around like 7-8 p.m. Central European time.
Usually around 11 or 12 Pacific time.
Yeah, and if not, then yeah, it's going to be uploaded the same night on YouTube as usual. You want to sign us off?
Sure. If you're here watching this live, thanks for hanging out. We appreciate that. And if you're watching this on YouTube, if you wouldn't mind throwing us a like and a subscribe, that would also be appreciated. We just do this for funsies for the most part, but still, kind of nice to see those little numbers go up sometimes. If you want to continue this conversation, feel free to leave comments and stuff like that. We're pretty active in our comment section because we just genuinely have some good conversations happening in there. Yeah. Did I cover everything? It's been a long time.
I think we're good. Yeah. Thank you everyone for watching live, and yeah, we'll see you all around in about 3 weeks. Have a good one. Take care.
Bye.